stays in my mouth.
A bullshit? A bullshit?
Calm the fuck down.
You know what they say? See a broad to get that booty yak 'em, leg her down or smack 'em, yak 'em.
If I can get a quickie.
A bullshit? A bullshit?
He stays in my mouth.
A bullshit?
Yo, peace, power, and prosperity to the village gang. Hope you're having a beautiful day today. Hope all is well. Hope all is swell. You and yours from FDNHT to you. Hope you're having a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful hump day. And later on, double down and get it done. You hear me? Long video. We got 2 long videos to review. So it's not gonna be long. I'm about to fire it up. You hear me? He and I is him, slim, trim, and built to win. Humble, gracious, 6 foot tall, 180 host. All framework. Nice and slender. Of the male gender. I had to ask myself a really, really critical question. Oh, let me finish my intro. Flaco Fuerte, aka Granny's baby, aka Numero Uno, aka the real McCoy, filled with love and joy. It's on, G. I had to ask myself a pretty crucial question today. And that question is, I'm gonna put a bullet on the name. Has Candice Owens, due to feeling so much pain from the death of her homie, I'm love, what up, G? Big salute, bro. Did the death of her homie inflict so much emotional, mental, spiritual pain upon her, physical pain, that she's starting to go off the deep end? One, we know, but this is something that's extremely possible. This ain't something that we gotta just act like it's impossible. People do a lot of different things when they're grieving, when they're in pain. But because Candice Owens is somebody who shown her ability to adapt and overcome, she's shown the skills and the ability of resilience. She's proven to be dedicated. She's proven to be of sound mind. I don't think she has lost it. I do think since the Kamala scenario, when she hunted that shit down and called it for what it was, early, when Cam started running, in my eyes, she officially became a great researcher. So I give her that respect and I say shout out to you, right? And I understand losing a homie. I understand the type of hurt that you feel. Even when you go to that selfish point and you say like I wish I could have had more. I wish I did this with them, right? I completely understand. And I don't fault you for any of it at all. You are human. You feel, you are absolutely clear, entitled, and supposed to feel that way about your homies. Here we go, starting off rude again. Here we go. People entering the chat, acting rude again. But I support you. I think you're extremely intelligent. And I think the way how you say things, you say with such a conviction, so you believe that it's true in your heart. A big shout out to you. I'm about to review 2 of your videos. I'm gonna tag you in it. Matter of fact, let me try tagging you right now so I don't forget later on. You don't get your credit for the work that you're doing again. Cause I see it. I see what you do. I from my stance, from where I'm sitting at, I see it. And the real truth is, if The real truth is this. I think that anybody who has a friend like you, they ain't willing to just hear the bullshit, willing to go do some investigations, use what they know to be true because they have a personal relationship with that person. I say anybody that has a friend like you would be absolutely lucky. I think they'll be absolutely lucky to have a friend like you, a friend that'll go a ride for them, even in passing. So big salute to you. You're officially tagged in the video. All right, cool. Anybody that have a friend like you will be extremely lucky to have a friend like you that ride. Regardless of what the whole world is saying, regardless of what anybody else is saying, you standing on what you know to be true. And you trying to pull back the layers and get to the real issues, try to unmuddy the waters. So I absolutely give you a big salute from FDNHT Trin. It's a love thing. Today I'll be reviewing one of your videos though. I'm gonna give my take on that. Wolf, what up, G? Look at Wolf. My G. How Wolf come in the room with respect. And look. Read the chat. Read the chat. Motherfuckers is disrespectful. It's flat out rude. But that's okay. We're gonna party anyway. That's all right. That's okay. We're gonna party anyway. Let's fire this shit up, bro. Add it. Share it. Yo, love is a 1 in a million.
Into this with
Guys, what up?
no introduction.
It
There's a
goes
lot that I would like to
on
speak
and
that I expect about.
on and
Thank you for
on.
your feedback. A lot of
You
lies that are being
gave me a really good on the day long. Yo, love is a 1 in a million. Yeah, I could sing and chop and screw. Fuck you think as well. Jimmy, fuck. Jimmy Kimmel. Miss Williams, what's up? Look at Miss Williams showing some fucking respect. Gerald, I think you're on the wrong channel. I don't think Messi's live right now. I'm gonna block your motherfucking ass and put you on timeout. You better calm down. I gotta get my revenge from earlier.
being put out there, narratives that I would say are half truths or just misrepresentations entirely. And I don't really see the reason for that. First and foremost, to let you know, last week was not a dream. Charlie Kirk, my friend, is dead. And he was publicly executed. I want to make that clear. Charlie Kirk was publicly executed before the world. And as we are all searching for answers, the ones that are being supplied to us are not making a lot of sense. And some people, I would say, are speaking too much, or speaking on behalf of other people. I don't like it. I will say something that I think brought the world a lot of relief, also, sadness. We were grieving with her, was when his wife, Mrs. Erica Kirk, addressed not just the nation, but the entire world. Her words were very powerful. And we just have a very brief portion of her remarks, which you should pursue in their entirety. But here she is.
If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country and this world. You have no idea. You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife.
I've been watched my friend get shot in the neck. Yeah, that's what happened.
RBN, what up?
Publicly executed again before the world. The question is why, right? When you are in a state of grief, you go through a lot of emotions, and I'm arriving right now at a lot of anger. The audacity of some people. It has taken much restraint and prayer, and I had to speak with a priest. I had to go to confession. These emotions that I am having, wanting to respond with Charlie in his own words, really. People that are coming forward and saying this is what he thought and this is how he should be remembered. It just feels really inappropriate to me. I didn't know what to do other than to scroll through messages between me and Charlie, regarding which there are a ton of them. And I kept going back and watching the video, the many videos of us dancing to the song Power. And it felt appropriate to reach out to TA, speaking about things, talking about his mode when he wrote the song. When you wrote the song Power, why did we have it as our hype song? Because the song is about the ability to find it within yourself to become what you know you are capable of becoming inside of a matrix. When you just realize everything is dishonest, that everything is performative, that people are dishonest, that they are going to try to stop you from being great. In fact, it's the end of the song. The question that he asks at the end of the song, that's the most important. Ye asks, do you have the power to let power go? Do you have the power to say no to power? I told you guys that Charlie was going through a spiritual transformation at the end, and all of the usual suspects were really angry that I hinted towards that. What do you mean? You're not allowed to say that. They were attacking me, trying to make me fearful to speak out and speak about things that I know. I'm not feeling very fearful right now. I am, like I said, very angry. And I found, Charlie's favorite portion of the song. I'll show you the text between him and I, because this feels very relevant right now. This is, again, lyrics directly from the song Power, but I just needed time alone with my own thoughts, got treasures in my mind, but couldn't open up my own vault. My childlike creativity, purity, and honesty is honestly being crowded by these grown thoughts. Reality is catching up with me, taking my inner child. I'm fighting for custody with these responsibilities that they entrusted me. That's a moment where he is really speaking about how hard it is. Like when you're saying, no, this is what I believe. And they say, you're not allowed to believe that. You feel like you are fighting for custody of yourself. And I want to be very clear that I believe, in fact, I know that towards the end, Charlie was fighting for custody of himself. I want to say that. I want to say that plainly. And there are lies that are being told and they need to be slapped down right now. There's one person who's been out there acting like he is a widow, just saying the absolute most, tweeting first about what happened to Charlie, following it minute to minute, and doing hits in a foreign country, right? Like making time to do hits on Fox News, 2 of them. Bibi Netanyahu who's fighting, I think, like an 84 front war with everyone, made a lot of time for Charlie Kirk. You would have thought they were the best of friends, as close as him and Trump were. But I will say I don't recall Erica mentioning Bibi Netanyahu in her speech. The way he's presenting it is like he was, this is just the worst loss for him, but I don't think that that is the truth. In fact, I know for a fact that he is misrepresenting some things that happened there towards the end. So let's at first listen to what Bibi Netanyahu, just one day, less than 24 hours after Charlie died, what Bibi Netanyahu had to say on Fox News. Take a listen.
We're just heartbroken. Myself, my wife, my family, my son, actually, on his 2019 visit to Israel, had lunch with him and his wife, Erica. We're shattered first as human beings because a great human being has been taken from us. He was an extraordinary friend. He said, he wrote me a letter on May 2nd this year. He said, one of my greatest joys as a Christian is advocating for Israel and forming alliances to defend Judeo-Christian civilization. A few weeks before the tragedy yesterday, I called him and I spoke to him and I said, please come to Israel. I invited him to Israel. And sadly, that visit will not take place. But he was a defender of our common Judeo-Christian civilization. He was unbelievably excited to walk in the footsteps of Jesus here. He valued our bond, the bond between America and Israel. He did so many things to defend free speech. He had his truth. He stood up for it. But he said, you can come and debate me. He invited that debate. He certainly didn't invite the violence, the horrible violence that tried to silence him. And this is a worldwide problem. The people on the extremes, the Islamists, the radical Islamists, and their union with the ultra progressives, they often speak about human rights. They speak about free speech, but they use violence to try to take down their enemies. Whether it's President Trump, who's been almost assassinated twice, or they try to kill me here too. But they got Charlie Kirk, and it's just heartbreaking.
Who is they, BP? Who is they who got Charlie Kirk? We don't have to actually speak conspiracies. I'm just wondering, because you said a lot there, but it really sounded like it was about Bibi trying to establish a narrative that we saw reinforced by a lot of people, that Charlie kind of made it almost sound like he died for Israel. Trump's account even tweeted out a photo of Charlie and an American flag and also an Israeli flag, a bit of AI used, this is just who Charlie was. He says Judeo-Christian values. He spoke to him 2 weeks ago. Again, you would think he was busy fighting this 97,000 front war, but no, he's letting you know that he just randomly picks up the phone and calls Charlie Kirk and invites him to Israel. Why would Bibi do that? It seems like maybe there's a little more to the story. No, there definitely is a little bit more to the story. First and foremost, that letter he is holding up, he is severely misrepresenting. Those sentences are real, but I am calling upon Bibi Netanyahu, the dear friend to Charlie Kirk, to publish the letter's entire contents. Don't start with just 2 sentences. Publish the entire thing. You're holding it. I'm saying you're severely misrepresenting the contents that in May, Charlie was concerned about Israel and their influence on American politics and how they were pushing things that he felt were in conflict with his beliefs, free speech. Here in America, Bibi's holding it up like Charlie just in May said, hey, you know what? I just want to write a love letter to Israel. That's how it was presented. Would you guys agree? That's not how it happened. Now, regarding that phone call and that invite, that also needs to be contextualized. And I'm going to do that. But first, Skylar, can we bring in a clip of Charlie from a month ago speaking about the kind of pressure that he was under? Because I think that will also help to further contextualize this. Take a listen.
I'm an American citizen. Yes, I want Israel to win. Yes, I'm a Christian. But like some of the mess, and you saw, and you've seen how I've been treated, Megan, by some, not all, by some.
No, it's very irritating.
It's
It's been
almost
so
as if
unfair. They were coming after you after Turning Point for, among other things, that you had Dave Smith there. Dave Smith is allowed to
questioning my-
criticize Israel. You had both sides. The Israeli side was
You're not allowed to,
overrepresented.
though. No, you're not allowed to. It's even worse than that. Again, I just want to repeat for the 5th time. I love Israel. I want Israel to win. But my moral character is now being put into question, Megan. Not my decisions. Not like, hey, are you doing this? Is it smart or is it dumb? But no, I am a bad person if I do this. And I could go, I mean, you saw it, Megan. It was trending on Twitter, thousands of tweets and text messages. And if I were to be charitable and generous, I will say the people that are attacking me are in a hyper paranoid state because they're at war, and war tends to make things black and white, and you're a hammer looking for a nail. So I'm trying to be charitable, Megan. Literally, I'm trying to cut as much slack as I can, right? Like, okay, what would it be like if all of a sudden I'm starting to see a pattern of behavior similar to what my grandparents saw in 1930s Germany online? How would I behave? So that's like my charitable kind of overcompensation spirit. At the same time, I'm like, but it's not defensible to be dumb, right?
No, it's not defensible to be dumb. And he was under an increasing amount of pressure, not just people telling him, oh, well, you know, I'm upset with who you're inviting, but flat out telling him that he was not allowed to invite certain people to his events. They were threatening to pull out money. Charlie was getting a lot of really nasty text messages, and many of them pertaining to Tucker Carlson and Candice Owens. But Tucker Carlson was really the focus when it came to America Fest. How could Charlie allow these debates about Israel to take place? How could he allow Dave Smith, who, by the way, is Jewish, how could how could Charlie allow this other position to meet the stage? Because obviously when people start to hear the debates, what Dave Smith is saying sounds so rational, but it was up to Charlie to not allow those things to happen. And that amount of pressure towards the end, as you see that conversation he had with Megan was just a month before he lost his life, really, I would say, reached a pinnacle of sorts on the matter of what Tucker Carlson actually said on that stage. Tucker Carlson, while he was on that stage at Turning Point, brought up Bill Ackman. Bill Ackman is a billionaire, obviously. He's also an extremely litigious billionaire. And Bill Ackman was on Charlie about comments that Tucker Carlson had made on that stage. Tucker Carlson specifically asked the question, where does Bill Ackman's money come from? You know, who is this guy? Actually, who is this guy that has this much influence? And like I said, Bill Ackman was not happy about this. And so I would like to contextualize Bibi. Again, these are things Bibi brought up publicly, which he didn't have to. He didn't have to bring up the letter. He didn't have to bring up the phone call, but he chose to do this less than 24 hours after Charlie Kirk was shot. Personally, Bibi, I would have appreciated if you guys used all of your spyware, you've spying on us for years, to maybe track down the killer. But I guess this is where you thought it was best. Do a little propaganda for Israel would be better than us helping us track down the killer. But anyway, so Bibi Netanyahu, in that phone call, which took place was a couple of weeks ago before Charlie lost his life. Charlie was in the Hamptons, and he had more than one event, but he had essentially what was staged, an intervention was staged by Bill Ackman. Because Charlie's rational thoughts about Israel were a no-no. This is not the route that you should be going on. And Charlie was surrounded by his friends, quote unquote friends. Bill Ackman was very upset, and threats were made. That is what I am told, and I will tell you that I am very happy for Bill Ackman to dispute this narrative. In fact, he was asked to dispute this narrative. Max Blumenthal went out to him today, and Bill Ackman came back and said, I have receipts I can show you. And he did not provide the receipts. And this is not how it went down. I know it went down this way. I'm waiting for one of them to go on record and to say that it didn't go down this way. It was at this time that Bibi Netanyahu was called and Charlie was invited to Israel. This was an under duress situation, I would say, because I've been in these situations before. When I started asking very sensible questions about Israel, as someone who had dedicated her political life to supporting Israel, many times alongside Charlie Kirk, I was met with the very same pressure. And just like Charlie was being invited to Israel, I was invited somewhere else. And when this arrived to me, it felt like a threat. You know, I got to that. It felt like a threat, like not like, hey, come here and we can educate you because you're my friend. More like, this is your last chance. That's how it felt to me. I can't speak to how it felt to Charlie. And I know that Charlie was offered a ton of money in this moment, a ton of money. He would fund it, you know, spend tons of money. And Turning Point, I guess, if it needed to go to a higher level, would have gone to an even higher level than it already was at. And I know for a fact that Charlie denied that funding, that Charlie denied, and what Bibi didn't include there, he declined to go to Israel for, I would describe this as like, you know, re-education camp. You know, we've seen it. You made an uh-oh, but we can help you. You know, we just need you to come out to Auschwitz and take a picture. Yeah. We just need you to come to the Holocaust Museum and take a photo. We just need you to go to Israel and we can make this better. Charlie said no to Bibi. Okay. Bill Ackman, if you would like to dispute that, I would love to hear what you say happened, because our sources and what we have, it's solid. Okay. There were conversations that took place, messages that were sent at that time, and they are solid. So I decided another person that was there, and I am not surprised this person was there. If you've been listening to my show, Seth Dillon, I was going to Seth Dillon, and I decided to message him last night about this Hamptons meeting. And Seth Dillon, who is normally very quick with a response, has not yet been able to respond. I'll show you this text message chain. And I want to be clear, I am not someone who normally publicizes text messages, but my friend was shot in the neck. And I'm just not really in the state right now to be polite when it comes to the answers that I am demanding, okay? This is me out to Seth Dillon last night. I sent him Bill Ackman's tweets because, he tweeted, I feel incredibly privileged to have spent a day and shared a meal with Charlie Kirk this summer. He was a giant of a man. I said, any comment on this one, Seth? He didn't answer last night. This morning I said, need a comment ASAP, please. He didn't answer. Then I followed that up and I said, trying again here, you were present when Ackman lost his mind on Charlie and when Bibi invited him to Israel and Charlie refused. Text messages immediately following this meeting are circulating. I find Ackman's statement, as though the meeting was somehow cordial, to be incredibly disturbing. Are you at all disturbed by that tweet? Do you feel, as I do, that this tweet significantly betrays the defined purpose and mood of his, and I presume your, final meeting with Charlie Kirk, ? He was unable to speak to me, but he did place some frantic calls to Turning Point USA. Yeah. You see, I went out to Seth, but I also went out to 2 other people who were at this meeting, and nobody is willing to go on record. They're all messaging each other, trying to figure out a coordinated response to say that, no, this was all quite cordial, but no one wants to go on record and describe it as cordial because they know someone's leaking, because someone's got a guilty conscience about what happened at the Hamptons. So I will again put it out there, Seth, Bill Ackman, and to the other individuals who I have not yet named, but who are going to be named later this week, who were at the Hamptons when Charlie was put under pressure, when Bibi Netanyahu called him and invited him to Israel, again, in a move that wouldn't happen to me, and it wasn't Bibi Netanyahu, felt to me like a laced threat. I am inviting you guys, I will give you my platform, actually, to come clear matters up and tell us what really happened, because, I think Charlie was definitely on the brink of changing some of his perspectives. And I can tell you factually, Charlie was praying the rosary. Charlie was going to mass. One of my last conversations with Charlie was me joking with him saying, just make the last step, okay? You are, I said specifically, you're too smart to be a Protestant. Just take the last step, Charlie. He says, haha, you're speaking about Mary. And typically when those steps start taking place, you stop referring to yourself, as I did, as a Judeo-Christian. Again, it is mystifying why, Bibi was out there doing the absolute most to make sure that Charlie was basically remembered as, I would argue, like a Jew, has not been yet mentioned. I didn't hear that. Erica was very clear that Charlie was a Christian. And I believe Charlie obviously was very much a Christian, and that things are not being told truthfully. In fact, I will also call upon, since we're having fun, Turning Point USA to release the audio of what Charlie Kirk, because I was in communication with Charlie at this time, because I knew exactly which donors were pressuring him and why, exactly which people that they were insisting Charlie allowed to speak at his event and why, when Charlie did not necessarily want those people to speak at his events, okay? I'm calling upon Turning Point to release the footage of what Charlie said to Tucker Carlson before he hit the stage, before, all of that craziness and the response to Tucker Carlson's remarks played out. Charlie was mic'd. Surely Tucker Carlson was mic'd. I know Charlie's mic'd the entire time at those events, so I'm asking for everyone to just release Charlie in his own words. I feel like that's pretty fair, right? Let's stop.
The thing I like about Candice Owens, she thinks extremely analytical about things. She's very linear in thought, like 1 and 1 has to equal 2. And you add 1 more, it has to equal 3. And 1 more has to be 4. And I would wish and hope that my friend, if something happened to me, and my friend, it didn't make sense to my friend, that my friend would get up and ride for me. I would hope that my friend will ride for me like this and go figure it out. And if it's clear, it's clear. But if it's not clear and the water seems a little muddy and murky, I'd pray and hope that my friend will ride for me and make this shit true, make it transparent, put it out there, make it plain that there was some foul play.
Stop saying how Charlie felt, and instead, if you're going to hold up the letter, release it in its entirety, okay? Why don't you release your messages, Bill? I'll release mine. Let's all just be very forthcoming about what took place. In fact, I'm calling upon Tucker Carlson to speak about that. I know what Charlie said to him, and I'm sure Tucker Carlson won't lie about it. What did Charlie say to you? Dave Smith, what did Charlie say to you? What was Charlie? Did he seem like he was treading in the direction? Like, do we feel like what Bibi is saying is honest, a representation of what Charlie was going through? This is what I want. I think that the thing that we need here, sunlight is the best disinfectant. Now, does all of this mean that Bibi Netanyahu and that this somehow proves that Israel was involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk? No, we have no evidence of that. We can't say that because there is no evidence of that. But I don't like little lies. That's what I will say. Something that I always say in my household is, when there is one lie, there's 20. There's no reason to lie. Bibi could have gone on Fox News and he could have told the truth. He could have said truthfully that Charlie Kirk has always loved Israel. He has always loved Israel as the Holy Land. He's been here many times. And throughout his career, he has been a faithful supporter of Israel. That's not what he said. Okay. He talks about the phone call and didn't give it the proper context. He held up the letter and didn't give it the proper context. And lies by severe omission, I'd like to be very clear, are lies. Lies by severe omission are lies. You're not going to gaslight us and tell us to shut up or call us anti-Semitic for pointing out the fact that Charlie was having a change of heart about the tactics that Israel was using in America, and that he felt when he had left that meeting that he had effectively been blackmailed. Again, my platform is yours, Seth Dillon. My platform is yours, Bill Ackman. So if you want to clarify it, we can do it in front of millions, okay? And I think that that's what people deserve, because everyone has PTSD. We watched Charlie get shot in the throat. That feels a little bit symbolic. It feels like they wanted us to know that his voice was problematic. Again, I don't know who they is. After we take this brief break, we're going to go through the investigation, which seems to have a lot of inconsistencies and holes in it. And we're definitely not yet at the bottom of what in fact took place. But I do know that I severely distrust people who rush to misrepresent things. And it's not a good sign when somebody has to ask you, as Greta Van Susteren asked Bibi Netanyahu in his secondary hit regarding Charlie Kirk's assassination. It's not a good sign if somebody even has to ask if you did have anything to do with the assassination. It doesn't make you a great person, okay? And that's what she asked him. Take a listen.
Before I let you go, I want you to address one thing, and just the absurdity of it. Some of the internet rumors that somehow Israel is behind the Charlie Kirk murder, and I don't believe it for 1 second, but I want you to make a statement. It's so absurd.
That's insane. That's insane. Israel also changes the orbit of the moon. Israel pushes the sun. I mean, the whole thing it's not only insane. I think it's so absurd, so stupid, and so ridiculous. You can't believe that people are saying that. They just found the perpetrator. They'll get to the bottom of this, but. They go, they have no limits. When you hate Jews, when you hate the Jewish state, you're willing to say anything and promote all these absurd rumors. And by the way, they're willing to kill us all the time. I mean, that's what they're doing. And over the centuries, when Jews, especially in the Middle Ages,
My first issue is this. She asked the question and disqualified the question in the same breath with her own opinion of it. Instead of saying, these are the questions that are funneling through. However it's funneling true, this is the questions, this is what's going on, this is what we're hearing. That's the question right there. Your personal beliefs as a journalist, why the fuck does that need to be interjected into that? No need for it. Second issue. His response should have been, hell no. Did he say hell no and I missed it? We'll go back.
changes the orbit of the moon. Israel.
Greta Van Susteren asked Bibi Netanyahu in his secondary hit regarding Charlie Kirk's assassination. It's not a good sign if somebody even has to ask if you did have anything to do with the assassination. It doesn't make you a great person, okay? And that's what she asked him. Take a listen.
Before I let you go, I want you to address one thing, and just the absurdity of it. Some of the internet rumors that somehow Israel is behind the Charlie Kirk murder, and I don't believe it for.
That's the question right there. Does that not signify a question? The question is asked, but here goes the interjection. Who gives a fuck what you think about it? If this was court, this would probably be leading the witness.
1 second, but I want you to make a statement. It's so absurd.
That's insane. That's insane. Israel also changes the orbit of the moon.
So why wasn't his first answer no? So he disqualified the question and didn't answer it also. Or we'll listen some more to see if he says no. We'll listen to see if he says no.
When Israel pushes the sun. I mean, the whole thing is, it's not only insane, I think it's so absurd, so stupid, and so ridiculous. You can't believe that people are saying that. They just found the perpetrator. They'll get to the bottom of this. But they go, they have no limits. When you hate Jews, when you hate the Jewish state, you're willing to say anything and promote all these absurd rumors.
I don't know why he didn't just answer the question, to be honest. I don't know why the fuck he didn't just answer the question. She asked the question, but led and gave off her opinion, doubled back. Netanyahu didn't even answer the question. He disqualified the question. It's absurd. It's just stupid. Answer the question.
And by the way, they're willing to kill us all the time. I mean, that's what they're doing. And you know, over the centuries, when Jews, especially in the Middle Ages, the horrific Middle Ages, the worst things were said about Jews you can possibly believe. We were poisoning the wells. We were drinking the blood of Christian children. You name it. I mean, these things that continued actually up to the Holocaust. The Nazis said the same thing. You know, we're carrying vermin. We're spreading disease, and people believed it. And every time they believed it, this was a prelude to a greater and greater massacre, culminating with the worst massacre of them all, the Holocaust.
Ah, well, he's mentioned the Holocaust. Guess we can't prod the narrative any.
Thank you. All right, thank you. This same shit happened yesterday when that girl talked about, I don't think, well, the people that was in the Holocaust felt like they wanted to see Adolf Hitler's kids run around. Notice that he never answered the question. Notice that he never answered the question. Notice that she asked the question and disqualified the question at the same time, and furthermore injected her own personal opinions upon it. You're a fucking journalist.
Further, guys. Holocaust. So everybody's just stopped talking about anything. I mean, hey, he's the victim. It's absurd. It's just absurd. The Holocaust happened. You heard him. We're sick of this shit. We really are. And there will be no narrative that I will not prod when it comes to figuring out why people are lying about the state that Charlie was in when it came to the topic of Israel. Again, you can examine Charlie in his own words. He was starting to talk about topics that you're not really allowed to talk about when you take money and big checks are being written. And the pressure was increasing every single day. In fact, he was telling the truth even about Jeffrey Epstein. Take a listen.
Epstein with his little friend Ghislaine and Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell, who was obviously a spy of the Israeli intelligence agencies, but there was something else going on here. Epstein was not some sort of whiz kid hedge fund manager. Epstein was playing a part. Epstein was a LARPer. Epstein was cast for a specific role, and he played it really well. The sweatpants and the Harvard jacket, the kind of disheveled hair, looking as if he was so smart and above the clouds that he was doing advanced mathematic equations on the back of napkins. But if you actually go into some of the videos of people that met with Epstein at the time, they said he was awfully unimpressive when it came to finance and markets and economics. And it's nothing new that if you're in the intel agencies, you want to try and get as much blackmail on powerful people as possible. Easy, not hard. And this is no longer just speculation. First of all, the evidence that shows that Epstein was a creation of either Mossad, Israeli intelligence, American intelligence, Saudi intelligence, or maybe he was just a hired gun. Maybe he was just the guy that countries would go to and park a couple $100 million and say, hey, can you get one of the members of the royal family with a 13-year-old so we can get them to do what we want to do? Members of Congress are actively being blackmailed. The Epstein playbook is being used on a daily basis. Jeffrey Epstein was not a financier. He was not a hedge fund manager. Jeffrey Epstein was a key player in a multi-decade blackmail operation against the most powerful people on the planet.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It seems to conflict with Bibi's narrative a little bit. Yeah, just a tiny bit. I do want to say this. It's important because I am angry. I will obviously, I pray to move on from this phase, but it's a fire in my belly right now. To those of you who think that you are going to replace Charlie Kirk, okay? Kings are born. You don't just get to depose and tell us that we're going to follow this individual, okay? I'm one of the Masons of Turning Point USA. You put a shill in Charlie Kirk's chair, in Charlie Kirk's company.
One of the Masons of Turning Point. Well said. She's one of the Masons of it. Not a donator of it. Not a charity member of it. She's one of the Masons of it. If you comprehend what she's saying.
And you try to tell us to follow that individual, I will be an enemy of you. There will be nothing that can stop me. Okay. And I want you guys to say, this is not a threat. This is a promise. There will be nothing that can stop me. I will release every single text message. So to those of you who are trying that, I'm seeing the messages. I am telling you to back off right now. Like right now. Don't do it. Okay. Don't you think about it. I know exactly who you are. I know exactly who you were that were exerting pressure. Don't you pretend to be noble now and say nice things about Charlie Kirk and think you're going to slide into his chair. Okay. Over my dead body, which I'm sure can be arranged. Now, I'm going to take a pause. We're going to go to some sponsors, and we're going to get into what we are being told by the agencies. There are definitely some holes, maybe more is coming out. First, this is fantastic that Preborn is doing this. Every heartbeat tells a story, and at Preborn, they give moms in crisis the chance to hear that.
Pink Fairy, what's up? Shout out to Candice. I'll say it again, and I don't give a fuck what anybody's opinion is. At the end of the day, if something happened to me and my dog felt like that shit was not right, I would hope that my dogs and them hit the street and ride for me. I don't give a fuck what nobody say. Everybody in this fucking chat, and everybody in this fucking country, and everybody in this fucking hemisphere, and everybody in the fucking world would want a fucking friend to ride for them if the friend felt like some foul shit had fucking happened. I don't care what y'all say. I do not care. If y'all say no, y'all would not. Y'all full of fucking shit.
Everything that we're hearing is pretty much all of us right now. Take a listen.
The so-called FBI, something's wrong. I know I shouldn't do this. I'm risking an awful lot to go up against this FBI, the MAGA FBI. Something's very wrong with what I just heard. I mean, I watched it. I was hoping that they had caught the bastard who shot Charlie. So we saw a video of a person jumping off the roof. It looked very legitimate to me. However, there was no rifle in his hand. Now, the Mauser does not break down very easily, incidentally, for those of you who know weapons. Something's wrong with the whole thing. They're trying to claim he removed the barrel from the Mauser and fit the receiver and stock in his backpack and barrel in his pants, like all in 2 seconds. It is not easy to remove.
Did we not already say this? Did we not already talk about this shit? Did we not already talk about breaking down a Mauser? A 30-yard 6 in the field. I'm glad some other people out here on the fucking in this world, on YT world, media world, social media world, are talking about some sensible fucking things.
A Mauser barrel or index it after reinstalling and remain accurate. We are not hearing or seeing reality. And by the way, the photo of the rifle allegedly left in the woods has the barrel installed. So we're supposed to believe a guy is on the run after killing Charlie Kirk, and he pauses in the woods to reinstall a barrel, and he leaves it for us to find, the FBI to find. I don't believe a word of it. I shouldn't do this. I know I'm putting myself at risk, but I can't take it anymore. I can't take the bullshit from this fucking government. It's lying to us. Something's wrong. Something's so wrong. It's sickening.
Sickening is definitely the right adjective, I think, to describe how a lot of us are feeling. And all I know how to do is to gather information, to research, and to investigate. And nothing is making sense. Now, it could not be making sense because we've not arrived at the conclusion. The FBI, I will say, has recently come out and said they're looking for another person. Good, because what we have so far obviously cannot be it. I feel, I was insisting that everybody read that book, Chaos, about the Charles Manson murders. And what we learn from that book is that if the government does want to hide something, what they do is they give you so much information that you can't, you don't even know what's real. So many different possible ways that things could have gone down, so many different manners, so many people speaking, so many publications publishing. And it's just meant to be chaotic, to drive you crazy and to just go, okay, I'm just going to accept whenever the authority.
Exactly. It's a good point. It's a very, very, very good point. Something that we also mentioned yesterday. We mentioned this shit yesterday.
Already said something and not prod any further. We can't allow that to happen here. I won't allow that to happen here because this something terrible has traumatized the world, okay? And I feel as though when it comes to this, the media, the government, the talking heads, everyone is confusing us about what actually took place with Charlie Kirk, this event, how it got set up. I even would like to know who picked the venue, okay? Here's what we know thus far, and I will tell you who the exact source is and what video they presented. So the first bit of proof regarding that day happened at 8:07 a.m. According to TMZ, they have footage, and we're going to show you it, which shows a man at 8:07 a.m., so hours before the shooting, wearing a maroon t-shirt and light shorts, as you were seeing on your screen right now, hands in his pockets, that is just walking.
This is when she's about to start doing breakdowns. She's about to start doing breakdowns. Pay attention to how linear she's thinking. Between me, Kofa. Was that yesterday or what day was that? It was this week. Yesterday. That was yesterday. I swear it was yesterday. Between me, Kofa, Blade, Reaper, Messi. We were sitting there and just the conversation we had amongst ourselves figured out some shit ain't fucking working. Some shit just ain't lining up. 1 and 1 not equaling 2, dog. This is the other aspect I didn't even fucking see yet. What she's about to do, but to show you a whole different line of shit. The shit that we had in our palm that we dealt with was one thing. Buddy, in the video before this video she's about to show right here, said the same shit that we was talking about. You cannot break down a Mazda 30-yard 6 like that. It's not built like that. The max you could do on a whim in the field is take out that bolt, lube that joint up, reset it, try again. But y'all probably think we just some fucking talking heads up here. We just up here yapping our fucking trap because we got extra fucking oxygen.
Outside of university grounds, okay? Now, Governor Cox tells us that at 8:29, which is an interesting timeline, Governor Cox tells us that that is when the shooter, Tyler Robinson, arrived at UVU campus in a plain maroon t-shirt, light colored shorts, and a black hat with a white logo. So essentially he's saying that what that person we saw walking down the street right there arrived on campus at 8:29. I'm going to allow you to hear Governor Cox say that himself. Take a listen.
Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes.
So what's interesting, already confusing to me, is that TMZ shows him already walking. We're supposed to believe he walked, parked his car, and then walked onto campus. They're saying that after that video that you just saw of him walking, he got into his car and then drove to campus, and then at 8:29 p.m. on campus is when he arrives. Already confusing, but let's just keep going. We don't need to poke holes. Let's just keep going with the narrative. Then we're back to TMZ, and they release that at 11:49 a.m., they have footage of the shooter who has now changed his outfit. We're supposed to gather that, again, on a doorbell cam, and he's in a different outfit. So this is 11:49 a.m. Charlie Kirk has not yet been shot. Take a look at this. Okay, and for those of you that are listening to this on audio, you are going to see someone who appears to be limping, okay? So maybe he changed his outfit at some point and now he's limping. And the idea that we're seeing floated is that he's limping because he's holding the gun in his pants, okay? That's kind of what's been floated, okay? That does not particularly come from the feds. I don't believe so, but he's limping now and he's got on a different outfit. Okay. 11:52 a.m., and we were actually gonna check this, by the way, but I think that we had the FBI say that was when he arrived on campus. Maybe that's not accurate. So let me just skip off of that because, Skylar, we should actually look to research that. But at 12:23 p.m. is when Charlie Kirk is shot, okay? And 12:23 p.m. is when, in that same minute, is when we have footage that shows us that as the crowd ducks, and it's blurry, the shooter runs across the rooftop. I'm gonna tell you why that's significant. So 12:23, Charlie Kirk is shot, and we are going to have an angle of that and the image of the black person in black, rather, that is running across the rooftop. Take a look at this.
That's funny.
They're down, clearly, and right, who appears to be limping, okay? So maybe he changed his outfit at some point and now he's limping. And the idea that we're seeing floated is that he's limping because he's holding the gun in his pants, okay? That's kind of what's been floated, okay? That does not particularly come from the feds. I don't believe so, but he's limping now.
To put a Mauser 30-yard 6 inside your pant leg, for one, you'd have to wear baggy pants. Two, for it not to protrude and look crazy, you'd have to rise it up into maybe the bottom of your armpit. Maybe your armpit. So this would be the stock. The stock of it would be up here, right? While the body, right, will be draped down your leg. Got it. That means you can't have the scope on it. Is the scope in the backpack? If you think about how our 30-yard 6 is built, the stock, the forward grip is one solid piece, wooden or fibered. You heard? What up, D-Gen? Big salute, big stepper, hot pepper. What's up? Salute, G. Hold it down. Dog. The scope on the rifle itself is raised above the rifle. So you would see something protruding. If it's on the side, think. This is thinking time. the scope of the rifle that is raised, right, forward of the bolt. Right? This is a bolt action rifle. You have stock, your bolt most likely be about right here. Your scope will be right here. The bolt goes into the rifle. So the bolt ain't taking up that much room for real, for real, for real. The bolt is the open part of the bolt, right? Back and forward. Back, forward, down. Right? Easy day. But the scope will be protruding so forward. Even if it's backward, it'll be protruding backward. And you would have to wear a baggier type of fucking jeans, is what I'm saying. We go back a little bit.
At some point, and now he's limping. And the idea that we're seeing floated is that he's limping because he's holding the gun in his pants. Okay. That's kind of what's been floated. Okay. That's not particularly.
You know, this could actually be. This could be him cutting through the complex or the neighborhood to dump the rifle. Possibly. 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 But maybe not at the same time. Maybe not the same. Don't hold me to that one right there. I'm just thinking out loud. We're doing this live. This is me thinking out loud live.
Come from the feds. I don't believe so, but he's limping now and he's got on a different outfit.
And possibly limping because he jumped off the building. That's the other part. You go back and look at it, his clothes not baggy enough. His gear's not baggy enough to conceal that properly.
And now he's limping, and the idea that we're seeing floated is that he's limping because he's holding the gun in his pants. Okay, that's kind of what's been floated.
So look at the image right there. Clearly, you can see one straight leg, one bent leg, and his hand is now one hand ain't moving. The right hand is not moving at all. Could this be after he dropped from the building and actually injured his fucking leg? And this is after. Who knows? I don't know. I'm watching videos with y'all. I'm doing this live.
Loaded. Okay, that does not particularly come from the feds. I don't believe so, but he's limping now and he's got on a different outfit. Okay. 11:52 a.m. And we were actually going to check this, by the way, but I think that we had the FBI say that was when he arrived on campus. Maybe that's not accurate. So let me just skip off of that because we should actually look to research that. But 12:23 p.m. is when Charlie Kirk is shot. Okay. And 12:23 p.m. is when in that same minute is when we have footage that shows us that as the crowd ducks and it's blurry, the shooter runs across the rooftop. I'm going to tell you why that's significant. So 12:23, Charlie Kirk is shot, and we are going to have an angle of that and the image of the black person.
That's funny. That's funny. That's funny.
Person in black, rather, that is running across the rooftop. Take a look at this. They're down, clearly. And right away, look at that, okay? And we have another, the footage shows us, there's another actually clip that I was looking for, Skylar, there, that actually shows him running across the rooftop. You guys may have seen it. The reason why that footage is problematic, as you start to see them ducking and then you see the shooter immediately start moving across the rooftop, is that their narrative is that he disassembled the gun and then started running. So that's a bit confusing to us of how he was able to do that so quickly. An unbelievable amount of hunters, guns, people that reached out to me and said, that just didn't happen. They have, exactly as Michael said, that did not happen. There is no way that happened. That cannot be accurate. Then, and this is obviously the craziest part of everything, we have Decoy Boy, right? So it happens and suddenly this guy, George Zinn, gets arrested. He's making noise. He's signaling that he's somehow shot the guy. And at 12:52, it gets announced that the suspect is in custody. So nobody needs to look around anymore because the suspect's in custody. But actually, I guess George Zinn just does that. He just does that, I guess, like just wants people to think he's done something but he hasn't actually done anything. That, again, to me feels like he's a decoy. Like more people are involved in this. And I will say that. We don't know, but we know that something's wrong with this. Then at 12:29 p.m., we have TMZ showing us that there's a person running through the backyard. They are saying this appears to be the suspect running. Okay, now we're going to show you that clip. It is very grainy. So they're alleging that that's him. We couldn't confirm that, and the feds have not confirmed that. But it does show you that someone's running across the back. Again, that's at 12:29 p.m. I don't know. We don't know. I'll give you some other facts that you should probably know just in general that has been thus far confirmed. The weapon, they say, was found in the woods and it was wrapped by a dark towel. Okay, now, when they gave us a photo of that weapon, it was fully assembled. So this is kind of what Michael Savage said. He's saying, okay.
Thinking time again. If you're not built for thinking, just don't even fucking comment. This is the lowest part of the rifle. This right here will possibly be a little bit lower than this. Most likely it's a little bit lower. Guaranteed. Because the stock opens up to sit in a pocket between your, what's this called? It's your shoulder pocket, pretty much. Your chest here. And the stock of a rifle is made to sit right here in this smooth pocket. Y'all don't know nothing about these things? Under your collarbone, maybe a finger's width under your collarbone, and maybe an inch towards the arm, right? The upper arm. It gets a little soft right there. That's where you put the butt of the rifle. Softer, right? Not on the bone. Because if you go an inch over, your collarbone rises up. Your collarbone rises like this. Your collarbone isn't straight across. So if you take your fingers and put them in your armpit and move about an inch in towards the nipple area, you're gonna find some softer flesh right there. That's where the butt of the rifle will go. So the butt of the rifle tends to expand. If you look at this area right here, this is the bolt area. This right here is the bolt. Remember? Up, back, forward, down, you're good to go. The stock is going to open up, spread itself out. So this is not necessarily the lowest point of the rifle, but it's one of the lowest points of the rifle. The stock may be half inch, 3/4 of an inch lower than that. But this piece right here is the grip. This is the trigger guard area right here. This is your full grip right here. I bring this up to say this. From this part right here to the top of the scope, that's a couple inches. That's a couple inches easily. I don't think he could fit that in them skinny ass jeans he had on. That's all I'm saying.
So then they reassembled it, or maybe the feds did. Maybe they're going to clarify that they reassembled it for a photograph, but we are told that it was found wrapped in a dark towel. Then we have been told that a screwdriver was found on the roof. So they're sticking to this implication that he perhaps undid this gun while he was on the rooftop. And
not necessarily. If he put the scope in his backpack, had the gun in his leg, I could possibly see that flying because you don't have those extra inches that makes it poke out either the front side of your jeans or the back side of your jeans, right? Depends on whatever way you're trying to carry it. The screwdriver could have been to remount the scope. But anybody who ever shot through scopes know if you bump the scope too much, you're going to be off target. If you bump your scope too much, you have to resight it. If you drop your rifle, first thing you know you got to do is what? What is the first thing you know for sure you have to do if you drop your rifle and it has a scope on it? Take your slow ass to the motherfucking gun range and sight it back in. Anybody tell me I'm lying right now? No takers? Fair.
And he, wanted to make sure he unscrewed with the screwdriver, left the screwdriver behind, but took the gun, but then left the gun in the woods. Okay. Then we get, and this has not been contextualized, I can't wait until it is contextualized, we get photos that are the shooter. This is when the FBI came out and said, he's in a stairwell. We don't know exactly where that stairwell is. He's in outfit number 2. So the outfit change has happened. Okay. There's no timeline again, but we can discern that there is no weapon that is in his pant leg because we can see him bending one leg in one photo and we can see him bending the other leg in another photo. So we're unclear about this. What is clear is that there is a ton of cameras on this campus. There is a lot of footage that they could release to make the public feel better about this. I mean, tons of different angles. I don't know why we're getting grainy shots at all. There have been tons of people online going through the tech stack of UVU campus and saying like, hey, why are we getting grainy? Why don't you give us clear images? In fact, you guys could show us an image here. They're not doing that. They're just going with this like grainy image and saying that's it. And you can get this grainy image, but we can't tell you much more. Now, again, it's an open investigation. They're under a lot of pressure. There is no question. I'm certainly not going to let this go. And I want the public to not let this go because you were spiritually impacted by watching a man be publicly executed. And you need to keep that energy and understand that something is very wrong here. Nothing they are saying feels good to me. Honestly, the thing that they said that felt the best to me is when they said that there's probably somebody else involved. That sounds about right. 2 people, maybe these aren't even the same people. Maybe the guy in the maroon is not the same as the guy in the black shirt. That would make sense because why change your outfit? Both of these look like you would blend in on a college campus. So why are you blending in twice? Does that make any sense? Why would you change your outfit? It's just a random fashion show while you're going to murder someone. I just want to change my outfit for funsies. And then we hear that.
Charles, I'm not talking to you right now because you're being an asshole. That's a good point, though. That was my point that I already thought about. He could have been there, stashed it, and just had to show up the next day. He said he had a week. In the text messages, I think it came out in the text messages, he'd been planning this for a week, which makes sense that he made all them fucking errors, which makes sense he's not a fucking professional, which makes sense that he's not doing this shit alone to me. That's what my first thought was. Then my second thought was, then why is the rifle in the woods? If you stashed the rifle there, why would you if you stash the rifle on the rooftop, all you gotta do is get to the rooftop, get jiggy. Why not leave the rifle there? Because the rifle's gonna be clean anyway. Why not take the serial numbers off the rifle? But what made it seem so clean and clear and everything just lines the fuck up automatically was the messages where he was talking to his significant other, friend, roommate, whatever they want to call it. He pretty much kind of explained everything in the messages, which seemed fucking odd as shit. That shit seemed odd to me. He just explained everything. If I get the rifle back, then I'm clean and clear. And I'm seeing it, but there's a police car there, so I can't really get to it. Damn, I wish I got to here earlier. Where I could. You had the heart to walk through the block with it. You don't got the heart to walk back down the block with it. I'm jacking what Candice is on. I don't give a fuck what nobody says. I'm jacking what she's on. Y'all have y'all personal feelings about her. That's y'all personal bullshit. Y'all can have y'all professional, intellectual ideologies about it. Cool. Such is life. We ain't gonna disagree 100% of the time. Even Stevens. But I'm jacking it because she's actually thinking. She's actually thinking and making shit linear. And she's asking the right fucking questions.
To Tyler Robinson, when he's apprehended, it is communicated to us that he is wearing the maroon outfit. Now, I want to be clear. They said this was 33 hours later. So he changed his outfit, I mean, ostensibly because he wants to avoid detection would be the only thing that I think is reasonable to assume. But then he changes back into the outfit that he was wearing before the shooting. For what reason? 33 hours later, like no shower time. He's wanted them to know that it was him on the camera. That's not clear to me. Why are we changing outfits? Are we just 2 different people? I think it's reasonable to ask that question. Are there 2 different people that are involved? Another thing that's not clear to me is that the story that we were told was that Tyler Robinson allegedly, after speaking with a pastor, his dad turned him in. Bill Ackman, probably $1 million, right? Thanks, Bill. He really cared about Charlie. And that money is now going to the father of this child who, after prayer and speaking to a pastor, they're saying, okay, well, then, he turned himself in. That we were told he turned himself in. Now we're being told that actually he hasn't confessed. So I'm just wondering, how do you turn yourself in without confessing? Because if I say my kid did it, that's enough for an arrest? What if the kid says he didn't do it? I didn't do it. Dad says you did. Okay, how did they arrest him without a confession? I'm going to show you Governor Cox's statement where he says that the kid has not confessed. Take a listen.
I know you heard that report by Matt Gutman and this latest reporting in the New York Times that some of the suspect's acquaintances were allegedly talking to him.
Who the fuck is that? And why is she fucking on the They don't have a fucking time age where they just swap these motherfuckers out? This motherfucker look like Skeletor, G, on the gang. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go at this lady like that, but fuck.
Him online and joking and thought they recognized him from those early photos. Can you tell us
She look like that skeleton from what's it called? Tales from the Hood. Shit.
anything about that this morning or anything further on the investigation?
Well, all we can confirm is that those conversations that definitely were happening, and they did not believe it was actually him. It was all joking until he admitted that it actually was him.
And anything new on the investigation? You say he admitted that, confessed?
No, not again. He has not confessed to authorities. He is not cooperating. But all the people around him are cooperating, and I think that's very important. There were reports yesterday that we can confirm that his roommate was indeed a boyfriend who is transitioning from male to female. That's information that the FBI had mentioned yesterday. We can confirm that as well, and that he is cooperating with authorities as well.
I'm glad I'm not the only one who sees it. So I'm not the only asshole hanging out.
Okay, so I'm just not entirely clear on this confession element. Did the pastor just say he did it? Did the father say he did it, but they didn't have any proof? Again, this is obviously everyone's investigating. We yield to them. Do I think this kid was involved somehow? Yeah. Do I think he did?
Could this stand in court? Could this stand in court? There's no confession. Turn yourself in. Could this work in court? Damn.
This alone? Absolutely not. The story makes entirely no sense. And then there's this random Discord over Discord. Okay. So Governor Cox came out and told us that there were messages about the rifle drop point. Okay. Discord says not the same thing. Let's listen to Governor Cox say that on this social media app, Discord, they were discussing the rifle drop point. Take a listen.
Investigators identified an individual as the roommate of Robinson. Investigators interviewed that roommate, who stated that his roommate, referring to Robinson, made a joke on Discord. Investigators asked if he would show them the messages on Discord. He opened it and showed several messages to investigators and allowed investigators to take photos of the screen as each message was shown by Robinson's roommate. These photos consisted of various messages, including content of messages between the phone contact named Tyler with an emoji icon and Robinson's roommate's device. The content of these messages included messages affiliated with the contact Tyler, stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel. The messages also refer to engraving bullets and a mention of a scope and the rifle being unique. Messages from the contact Tyler also mentioned that he had changed outfits.
Okay. So he changed outfits. Again, unclear why he did that. Unclear why he would then put the outfit back on 33 hours later. Most people just like shower within that time. I did receive contact from one of Tyler Robinson's classmates, and they said that was the strangest part to them. They told me that was the strangest part. A 33-hour putting on an outfit that he had on 33 hours early, because they described him as remarkably tidy. He was a tidy individual. So that flagged that.
Miss Williams, that's what I'm thinking too. This thing has enough holes in it. If he get fucking Brian Steele, if he get one of them shooter lawyers that gets busy, if he gets, let's say, he get Buddy from ASAP Rocky case. Let's say he get Buddy from the YSL case. You know, if Brian Steele come in, he bringing Westmoreland with him. He get Doug. They finna go. He's going home. He's going to the crib. Yo, you could say any that means fucking Chels. I thought about that shit too. I thought about that. It means fucking nil. It means nil. It means the evidence has to be, I'm talking about sealed and shut. And what we have right now is a bunch of holes. We have a bunch of fucking holes, man. Yeah, Taco Pina, Steel, Dog, motherfucking Westmoreland. That's a wrap. They're gonna smoke this case. As of now. As of now, they will body this fucking case.
As weird, just seems like a little extra work. Again, unnecessary, completely unnecessary. You're getting nothing out of changing your outfits. We have a statement from Discord, which kind of disputes that. Discord says, in the course of our investigation, we identified a Discord account associated with the suspect, but have found no evidence that the suspect planned this incident or promoted violence on Discord, a spokesperson said in a statement. Again, maybe they need more time, and they're going to get more time. They're going to get a lot of time because it will be never that I let this go. It will be absolutely never that I let this go. Everything just spiritually feels very wrong here. Yeah. It feels like we are being lied to by who? I'm not sure. Are there some good guys? Of course, there's always good guys in government, but there are too many bad guys in government for me to feel good about this. And so, ladies and gentlemen, we are obviously going to continue to follow this to tighten up this timeline with the most up-to-date information that we can possibly have, everything that we could possibly learn about the father that is involved in this. I want to know more about the father. He's being described as a hero. He turned his son in. Okay, I don't trust anything right now. Okay, I trust absolutely nothing. I think everyone needs to be investigated. Every person that is even mentioned should be investigated. We have a right to do that, and we're going to continue to do that. All right, guys, before I get into some of your comments, I want to remind you guys about Pure Talk, because when was the last time that you bragged about your wireless company? Did you know, have you ever said to anybody, did you know that my wireless company gave 1,000 American flags to deserve?
All right, that was video. That's the first video. I tell y'all we got 2 videos to watch. Y'all ain't got the heart for sensible conversation. If y'all don't want to talk sense and talk about real life and real shit, such as life, y'all want to listen to gossip and fuckery, it's completely up to you, G. But over here, we a channel of substance. We a channel of thought. We a channel of fucking good behavior. We a channel of love, peace, and prosperity. And as long as those are the fucking flags you fly high in your front yard, you are always welcome here. Always welcome to pull up and enjoy the conversation and be in the town square with us. Y'all know how we get down over here. Let me swap this one out real quick. Let me get the other one rolling. We be learning. I mean, if you are alive, that's something that you're supposed to do, right? Live, love, learn, right? Don't jack my shit. But over here, that's what we do. That's just what we do over here. Simple, plain and easy. And y'all know how I get down. I tell a motherfucking heartbeat, unsubscribe and get the fuck from right here. I don't want those people. I don't want that poison. I don't want none of that shit in the town square. I don't want none of that shit around these people out here, because we actually talk to each other with dignity and fucking respect and with sense and just the sheer bare minimum of humanity. That's it. If y'all not jacking that shit, then get the fuck. And y'all know I mean that shit. You better remind them that I mean that shit. Anybody coming here with that goofy shit they carrying on with, remind them what the fuck, 1, we do over here, and 2, you get the fuck. So shooters shoot when y'all need to. You hear me? Boom. This one is hot off the press. When I say hot off the press, this was today. I think Candice Owens is good looking too. She has her days where her hair might not be fucking with her too much, right? But I think she's good looking. I don't think she's far from ugly in my eyes. So she's as to listen to her speak and give her takes and give her her point of views and her heart and her soul, and she pours this shit out. She's decent she's super decent to look at the same time. So it's a win-win. You hear me? It's a win-win out here in these streets. Loading it up right now. Let me make sure. It's not that she's talking fast, it's the fact that I'm playing it at that speed. So if it's too fast and y'all missing some shit, let me know. I don't mind slowing it down. I don't mind changing the speed of it. But this one is also 108. Is that a fucking Stanley? She got Stanleys for days. So MSG. Nah, I'm just saying. I think I figured out how to make sure I'm getting everyone notification, but I unsubscribed to Trin in the process. I'm blocking your motherfucking ass soon. Watch. It's her version of the Stanley. Oh, so that's her. That's her product. Oh, gotcha. Thank you. Appreciate that. That's why she got all them damn colors. Because the other one, she had like a fucking a turquoise, like almost a greenish looking one. Gotcha. Shout out to man. Shout out to the motherfuckers doing merch. I need somebody to teach me how to do merch, dog. Because I got some good ideas. I just don't know how to fucking do merch. And I'm not fucking. Maybe I'm slow sometimes, but that's one of the things I'm slow on. Most times I'm pretty. I think I'm like 75-25. Just like my introvertness. 75-25. This is the next video. You say you resubbed. Oh, I was about to get on your motherfucking heels. Good job. If the speed is too fast, let me know, right? And then we'll just slow it down and walk the dog. I'm about to get on your fucking heels. Matter of
Start
fact,
today's episode with
here go your minute of fucking of where is it? I gotta find you to give you your minute. I gotta find you to give you your minute of fucking blockation. Where you at? Where you at? There you go. 1 minute of timeout. Put user in timeout. 1 minute. You get 1 minute of timeout. Now we even, asshole.
a game. I mean, the feds like to play games. Let's play a game. And this is one that everybody can join in on, okay? It doesn't matter how old or young you are. I want you to grab your cell phone and I want you to go to your text messages and search for certain terms, okay, that you just use when you speak to your friends. Terms that were just casually tossed into a conversation, the alleged conversation held between the 22-year-old alleged killer of Charlie Kirk, Tyler Robinson, and his 22-year-old boyfriend, Lance Twiggs, okay? The first term I want you to search is retrieve. Now, look it up. When is the last time that you used the word retrieve between you and a friend? Retrieve. I'm going to retrieve something. I played this game with my entire staff, and
I told Messi today after she timed me out, say I need to go retrieve my fucking manliness. I need to go retrieve my dignity and retrieve my fucking respect. That's what I said today. Black ass. Oh, you back, huh? Look at you. I'm back. Had time for your shit.
I was able to find, since dating back for the last 3 years, 2 messages where someone used that term. The first person was somebody that was former military, and the second person was a cop. Makes sense. Okay, we're not done playing this game. Second term that I want you to look for in your phone is vehicle. Vehicle. I mean, what pops up for you? Is that something that you say? I'm just going to go outside to my vehicle. I left something in my vehicle. I'll be right back. I just parked my vehicle outside. I don't remember where I parked my vehicle. What's popping up for you?
I see where she's going.
Probably literally nothing. Maybe something related to the DMV. That's what came up for me. Things about the DMV. I think for Skylar, something came up for his car wash. Your vehicle is ready. Sounds pretty professional. I don't know what to tell you guys, though, because what they're telling us is that is just the way the 22-year-olds are speaking these days. Apparently, they just shoot the breeze with one another, and they say vehicle and retrieve. And if you don't believe me, then good. You shouldn't believe that. You shouldn't believe me when I say that. So welcome back to Candice.
I think he.
I love vehicle.
Hey, yo, dog, talking about words, right? Quick little break. So the other day, I was at work, and I work with this Jamaican dude, right? And we was talking about lunch because this was yesterday. Yesterday, we was like, "Yo, what we gonna get for lunch?" You know what he said? Guess what he said? If y'all guess this, I'm telling you, I'm cash apping you $5. Just email me your cash app or whatever. If y'all guess what he said, you getting $5. Let me turn on the clock. Clock is ticking. No, for lunch. For lunch. For lunch. We're talking about lunch. Jameson, what up, boy? Big salute to you. Hope all is well out there in this crazy world that we're living in. He said, don't listen to. We was talking about getting lunch. What are y'all missing? We were on the way to lunch. My question was, what are you getting for lunch? I never been to the spot before. So I was like, what you getting for lunch? Guess what word he said? The same way no, I'm not, that's gonna be too much. That's gonna be too much of a clue. You better get timed out again. You better get time out too. You following her fucking lead. I'm tired of y'all shit. He said he's gonna get a fried chicken sandwich. Dog, I said, he said sandwich. I said, so it's not just Trinidadians that say fucking sandwich. I've never heard a Jamaican say sandwich in my life, but he said it. But this might be the fucked up thing though. His wife is Trinidadian, so it might just be Trinidadians that fucking say sandwich. Dog, I was like, what the fuck? I was like, how the fuck he knows sandwich? I was like, his wife probably says sandwich. And he probably just picked it up throughout the years and says sandwich. So I ain't the only one out here in the streets, you hear me? Long head ass. Child, that is tether to tether talk. We don't understand. Y'all know exactly what sandwich means. Stop.
Love fast vehicles. I'm a big vehicle person, said nobody ever. The text messages that were released yesterday in the indictment of Tyler Robinson make perfect sense if you don't think about them at all. Like literally, if you suspend all reason, all rationality, then they can make perfect sense. That's the only way. You just have to stop thinking. You got to get to that point where you're like, are we still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? No, to be fair. Now we are more broadly considering how stupid the feds believe that we are. And the frankly obnoxious messages that someone strung together must clearly be for either our or their own entertainment. So I want to hyper-focus on those. I want to actually hyper-focus on what exactly is wrong with these text messages between Lance and Tyler. Now, first and foremost, the obvious thing, there's no timestamps. Right away, major red flag. Very easy to say he sent the first message at this time. It's a part of your investigation, right? Everybody is on edge globally wanting to know what happened. They just remove that. But don't worry, you guys, because like I told you, one of the things that me and Charlie always believed in was that we could work harder. And I got to tell you, these devils are working pretty hard, but we can work harder than them, okay? And I decided to go back and on the basis of what Tyler Robinson allegedly writes to his lover, I decided I could work them into the timeline. I could work out an approximate timeline, at least, for us to look at visually for when they had to have been sent on the basis of what he's saying, right? 'Cause he says certain things that were not revealed to the public at a certain time. So we're going to do that. I also want to point out the fact that the language, which many people said online, somebody actually left a very funny comment. It's like borderline poetic. He's got commas in there. It's like perfect English. And that's actually a striking contrast compared to what's inscribed on the casings, right? He goes through all of these memes that he's written, and I'm not hip to the lingo. Okay, you got to be real deep internet and hip. But for whatever reason, when he's writing these messages, he's very proper, extremely proper, right? What really wants to make sure he gets the punctuation correct. Anyways, let's just dive right back into the timeline. Let's dive right back into this conversation. And we're at first going to focus on the third message. And don't forget, just to lead up into this, they are telling us that at no time that we're allowed to know on September 10th, after Charlie Kirk was shot, the roommate, that's Lance, received a text message from Robinson, which said, drop what you are doing, look under my keyboard. And so Lance, I don't know what he does all day, but he can do that. He knows he's home. And Lance then runs, I'm saying he ran prances, who knows, and looks and he sees this note. And to be clear, we're never going to be able to see that note because the feds have since told us that the note was destroyed. But even though he destroyed the note, he took a picture of it. Yeah, that makes sense because if you're going to destroy something, the best thing to do is to take a picture of it. And the feds saw the picture, but we're not going to be able to see either. Anyways, don't think about it if you want it to make sense. Then we find out that Lance, I guess, decided to take a picture and then text Tyler back. And here is where he asks him, Lance says, Tyler, what? You're joking, right? This, the note said, I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk and I'm going to take it. So Lance is like, what? You're joking. And Robinson says to him, Tyler says, I'm still okay, my love, but I am stuck in Orem. That's the town, okay, that UVU is at, for a little while longer yet. So poetic. A little while longer yet. I'm going to look that up on my phone later. It shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I got to grab my rifle still. To be honest, I had hoped to keep this secret till I died of old age. I'm sorry to involve you. Now, I want to jump to this next message because it gives us a timeline. He says to him, I assume right away, Lance says, you weren't the one who did it, right? And Robinson says, I am, I'm sorry. And the roommate says, I thought they caught the person. Okay. And Robinson responds, no, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from my drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. Okay, so that lets us actually be able to drop that into the timeline pretty simply. Why? Because we know, we can pull up this timeline, that they at first thought it was George Zinn, so that's who he's referencing, some crazy old dude. And on the timeline, Skylar, if you want to pull that up so we can go through it, what time Charlie gets shot at 12:23 p.m. Scroll down a bit. George Zinn, we learn about 30 minutes after that, George Zinn, the decoy boy, that's when it's announced that he's a suspect in custody by the Utah police. But it's not until, by the way, 5:30 p.m., because he mentions that second suspect, and he curiously says in that correspondence that he's wearing similar clothing, which I find to be strange. We don't know what that second suspect is wearing until 5:30 p.m., when Governor Cox, 12 minutes into a press conference, the press conference began at 5:30 p.m., mentions that the second suspect, who is a person of interest, is wearing all dark clothing. So the earliest that message could have been sent out is after 5:30 p.m. I think it's unlikely because I think, again, this is all made up, these messages, because he says wearing similar clothing. Okay, he tells us dark clothing. What's similar about that? This guy allegedly, when he did this, was wearing dark jeans and a black shirt. So that's like everyone on campus, okay? Nobody in the press conference says, oh, we picked him up because he was wearing something similar to the shooter. So that language right there is actually a mistake from the feds. But again, it allows us to be able to plot it into the timeline. So that's good. Okay, timeline is back up here. And we then know Kash Patel tweets that the subject in custody has been released. Our investigation continues. That was a mistake. The guy in the darker clothing, we don't know who that is. And then
you see how linear she's thinking? She's thinking in straight lines when the line ain't working. Pause. Question. Keeps on going. When the shit ain't smooth, pause. Question. Less analytical. Shout out to Candice. And you know what? I don't fuck with Candice because of her political affiliation. I don't fuck with her because of her religious conviction. I don't fuck with her because she shares the same skin tone as my people, right? I don't fuck with her because she's a beautiful woman. It's her brain, man. It's her fucking brain. That's why I fucks with her. All the other things we're possibly gonna disagree on a lot of these other different things. But the one thing I can agree with her upon is the way that her brain works. I could agree upon her having this fucking conviction in life and the thing that she believed to be honest and true. I could fucks with her because the way she does her work ethic, her dedication. Like she's riding for her dog right now. Y'all motherfuckers would wish y'all had somebody to ride for you. That's what she's doing. She's riding for her partner, riding for her dog. Straight like that. That's some respectable shit at the end of the day. If this whole shit turns out to be whatever was put out by media, locals, local police, feds, if it all turns out to be nice, tight, wrapped up in the perfect bundle, and it all works, and it's all linear, and the shit's smooth, good. There is no scar on her dog. She's trying to ride for her dog. That's been homies for years and can't help move. True, real talk. Kofa, that's real talk, dog. I know exactly what you're talking about, J. But this motherfucker is riding for her partner, dog. Not riding silent, and not even riding silent, dog. This moment she riding front facing, chest up, chin up, right? So y'all some motherfuckers just don't get it. And at the end of the day, motherfuckers just don't get it. Some people just will never comprehend what it is to have that type of fucking homie riding with you. Just that simple. Just that fucking simple, dog. And as a well said. Mr. Wondering. Well said, G. Well said. Well said. I don't care about what she chose to marry. I don't care about them. Those are frivolous points. Them shits don't even get the bucket filled. Her personality, her conviction, her dedication. If this is her right here, the one that we experience, imagine how she actually moves around in her marriage with the people that she loves. Think about that for one more second. If she does this here in fucking funny bizarro land, YouTube land, Instagram land, FB land, what's the other one? TikTok land. What else? I said FB. All these other fucking mediums, right? For media. Imagine how she actually behaves in her fucking household to the people that she fucking made, the mute, and the person that she decided to make the mute for and marry. Imagine what type of dedication and duty she really fucking has for those people. If she's sitting here and she's riding for her partner, think about how she get down for the motherfuckers that she is absolutely 100% spiritually, physically, emotionally, and mentally responsible for. Financially, sure. But I don't think she's financially responsible. I think her old man is good. Either way, think about it. We witnessed a glimpse of her character and a glimpse of her behavior. Imagine what the personal side looks like. Pushing on, G.
It's after, again, like I said, that these correspondences then had to take place. So we're talking about late in the evening, okay, 6 hours on. I'm wondering what it is that Tyler Robinson is doing throughout this entire time. Skylar, you can keep this up because I want to keep scrolling, okay? What he's doing throughout this entire time, because that's a very long time for him to be just around campus. But then luckily, he's going to let us know what he's doing, right? He's going to jump right in here and he's telling us that he's close to the scene. We know in this conversation that he then says to Lance that he's looking to get that rifle, right? He says, I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring it back. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's actually go earlier. He then tells us his alibi, which is amazing, right? He's saying, I'm lingering around there. I'm trying to get the vehicle. And then, of course, as you always do when you're trying to clean up things, you then spell out your alibi, right? Lance asks him, why'd you do this? And Robinson says, I had enough of his hatred. Some hate cannot be negotiated out. If I am able to grab my rifle unseen, I'm trying to clean up the scene, but also I'm telling you exactly what my motive is here. I will have left no evidence. I'm going to attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they have moved on. I haven't seen anything about them finding it. Okay, so we are now late in the evening. He's still hanging around. The roommate then comes and says, how long have you been planning this? He says, a bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, still trying to get close to that rifle. So I'm wondering if maybe the feds might drop us some footage, right? We should be able to see some footage. He's got to be idling in his car. You've been speaking about how he has this car. I'm assuming he's not just sitting in the woods or sitting on a sidewalk. This is a quote unquote manhunt. So where is he casually sitting, lingering, loitering? I don't know, but that would be some pretty good footage that they could release if they don't want us all to become a conspiracy theorist, okay? He then says, yeah, I've been planning this for a bit over a week. I can get really close to it, but there's a squad car that's parked right by it. That's the drop-off spot. I think they already swept the spot, but I don't want to chance it. And then he tells Lance that I'm wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. Yeah, that's a vehicle. I'm worried what my old man would do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. I'm going to tell exactly where I got this rifle from, okay? I don't know. I don't even know if it had a serial number. Weird, because he's been planning this for a week. He might have checked. Now all of a sudden he's getting into details and is wondering if it had a serial.
It seems way too convenient. This shit seems so convenient.
Real number, that seems a little strange to me, but it wouldn't trace to me. Of course, you just told us in writing that it's your grandpa's. Definitely trying to cover your tracks. I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a bush where I changed outfits. Okay, we're going to get to that. Focus on the changing outfits. That's a really important piece of this, and that is why I am now a confirmed conspiracy theorist on this, okay? I left it in the bush where I changed outfits, okay? I didn't have the ability or the time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope that they don't find prints. How the F will I explain losing it to my old...
Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Last time I checked, because the stock is one piece, the body is one piece. The barrel is what has the serial number on the side of it. Last time I shot a rifle like that, single bodied stock, trigger grip, hand grip, forward grip was a single frame. The serial number is on the barrel.
man. Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. That's the only thing. Otherwise, it was a perfect job. It was top of the line, professional job. The only thing I left behind was the weapon with my prints on it. Oh my gosh, right? Like that's kind of amazing. Okay. Then he, of course, explains, remember how I was engraving the bullets? The effing messages are mostly a big meme. I know I speak proper here, but it's just a meme that I was writing. I wrote, notice is bold on Fox News. I might have a stroke if they say that, right? If I see notice is bold on Fox News, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm going to have to leave it. Oh, that really effing sucks. It's almost perfect. Okay. So he then ends this message. This is all from today. This is all we have from September 10th. Okay. Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gone. I want to make it very clear. This is Grandpa's gun. Okay. Nobody should question this narrative because he has put it all here. I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine. I don't know. I think that was a $2,000 scope. Okay. So that ends that exchange. Now, I have a couple of notes here that I put here at the end of day one as we worked in this correspondence, which all had to happen. Let's call it 7 p.m. earliest, as I say here. Which I want to be clear, the campus is 3 to 4 hours away from where Tyler and Lance live together. We have a map here to show you that. So he's just loitering until, like I said, earliest. He's signifying around like 7 p.m. that he's still very close to campus. That's a long day. That's a real long day, just waiting to see when you can go in there. And there's a manhunt. And he's chill. He's chill because he's changed his outfit. How do we know he changed his outfit? Because he made it very clear that he drops the clothes, his shooting clothes, right there. He got changed. He didn't have time to take the rifle that was in the that he put in his towel, but he did have time to change. That totally makes sense. And then for whatever reason, he had to leave the rifle with the prints on it. Okay. What's interesting about that though is we should recognize that curiously what they've removed from this indictment, again, relevant to the clothes, was the fact that, and the governor's going to say it, that we are told that he at first enters campus on this day at 8:07 a.m. TMZ shows us the footage, remember, of the man wearing a maroon t-shirt and shorts. That's how this day begins. That is walking through a neighborhood just outside of university grounds. The Governor Cox has confirmed this is him. Not mentioning the indictment. That's curious. Seems very relevant. Surely, you guys should be mentioning that. The outfit, what did he do, by the way? From 8:07 a.m. when he walked onto campus to when he is then seen walking back onto campus at 11:51, that's 4 hours. Something else the feds could release to dispel any conspiracy theories would be him walking back to his car. You're telling us he then goes back to campus and he's in a different outfit. Can we get him leaving campus? We know the place is covered with cameras. That would make me feel better if you showed us him leaving campus and then we see him coming back in a different outfit. Again, not clear why he couldn't just wear the outfit he was going to wear, since I would imagine you've got thousands and thousands of students that are wearing something as casual as a black t-shirt and blue jeans. I understand a need for a change if you're in a sniper outfit, or if you're wearing a Barney costume. If you showed up and you're wearing a full Halloween costume, then yeah, maybe you should change. But it's just an average college kid outfit. This is just what you expect to see on campus. Just what boys wear. Anyways, like I said, those are my points from day one. The feds can release that. And also, I'm wondering, where did Tyler spend the night? Can they clarify that? He certainly couldn't have made it out of a rent and back there and back to his home. I'm coming home soon. Would have been the wee hours of the morning. This would have been a good time, by the way, if you're really trying to get away with this, to tell your lover to delete the text messages. He doesn't do that. He's not going to tell him to delete the text messages on this night. Presumably he saw him. They didn't say he went home to his parents' house. So what happened overnight? When did he get home? He's been so thorough in describing that cleanup job. And by the way, we know that Discord is going to later say that those messages were not coordinated on their server, which I would say was definitely a part of the broader plan. Okay. Let's get into September 11th because a lot happens here and you are going to really see what I see here and we need to demand answers. Okay. So on September 11th, we are presented with the first FBI press conference where they confirm that they have found a weapon in the woods. Let's take a listen to a bit of that.
This morning, I can tell you that we have recovered what we believe is the weapon that was used in yesterday's shooting. It is a high-powered bolt-action rifle. That rifle was recovered in a wooded area where the shooter had fled. The FBI laboratory will be analyzing this weapon.
Now, I wouldn't say the shooter had fled, just based off of what he was just kind of lurking around, ready to go get his weapon back. Okay, for a long time, but whatever. Let's go with that. Then what we have after that 7 a.m. press conference is that exclusively our resident guys over at the New York Post, every exclusive ever, Jeffrey Epstein's death picture.
He was in motion already. He was in motion already with the rifle secured in the towel. Why leave it if you're headed to your vehicle? Am I missing something? You have the rifle, your grandfather's rifle. Why would you leave the rifle to go back to the whip? Tell me if I'm missing a part of this. Maybe I missed something that was revealed. But why would you leave the rifle behind if your fingerprints are on the rifle? If the one thing that could connect you to this is the rifle. Please explain to me, why would you leave that behind? Furthermore, explain to me, if you had the fucking towel that you wrapped the fucking rifle in, why would you not wipe the motherfucker down? Somebody in this fucking chat, all 16 of you hanging out here tonight, make me some fucking sense out of that. Somebody. You have the towel. You have the rifle. Make a decision now. I don't want to take the rifle with me because the rifle is too bulky. The scope is still on it. It's just too much. You wrap the rifle in the towel instead of wiping down the rifle and taking the towel, which you can easily fold up and put in your backpack. So there's no fingerprint. One of y'all motherfuckers in this fucking chat room tell me the shit I'm saying is fucking wrong. Thought so.
Ghislaine Maxwell found at an In-N-Out. It's always the New York Post, okay? I view them as a feds. If I'm the feds and I'm trying to make this seem like this is organic, I wouldn't give it to the New York Post because we're in Utah. And so cops are probably not leaking to a New York-based publication. But whatever, they have the exclusive. They're the ones that reveal the photo. They always have the exclusive, okay? And they show us the gun in the shooting. Their article publishes at, and by the way, my timeline is all based in Mountain Time. So that says 11:21 a.m. Eastern. They publish at 9:21 a.m., 2 hours after that first press conference, and say exclusive. They are the ones that drop the trans narrative. They say these things are found on the bullets, okay? And then just 7 minutes later, the FBI, Salt Lake City, drops static images of the alleged shooter walking up the stairs, okay? So now we can see on our timeline, that's around 10 a.m. in the morning, Salt Lake City time, Mountain Time. So we can then assume that everything else that's about to happen that I'm going to tell you had to have happened, okay, between approximately 10:30 and 7 o'clock p.m., okay? I have a source, and everything the source has told me that has happened when we were lied to publicly has proven to be correct. So I'm very inclined to believe this source on a couple of other things. And when I speak also to Lance's family, they are confirming what the source is telling me. So we're going to go through this 10:30 a.m. to 7 p.m., all of the things that then took place. So they released the photo. And then we are told, as my source initially told me, that it was the mother who recognized Tyler and she phones him up. Tyler says, "Mom, I'm sick." She doesn't believe it. She loops in Dad, okay? Dad then texts and he calls Tyler.
I had to take the scope off before shooting to carry it in his pants. Couldn't fit back in his pants with the scope on. He didn't want people seeing him walking away from the scene with anything looking like a gun. So he wrapped it up in a towel, jumped off the building, made it to where he made it to, and then decided that at this point, when I'm clear from the scene, because decoy boy had calmed down the search for a little bit, we could have just took the rifle with him, or if it's absolutely necessary, dump the rifle in the woods and wipe it down clean, but take the towel with you. Wondering, I'm not banging your drum about none of this shit. This was literally what we talked about earlier in the last video that we watched tonight. So I think we're talking about the same thing. We're asking the same questions. We're thinking in the same framework. What's up, Donna? Why would black women think they are the smartest creatures on the earth and their kids can't read? Where the fuck did that come from? Okay, Donna. I don't know where that came from, sweetheart, but okay. The cops right where he laid the rifle. He changed clothes right there. He really wanted to retrieve it because his grandpa gave him that German rifle, but the cops were right. Why would you leave the rifle in the first place? He left the rifle because the cops were there? No. No. So the theory he had an accomplice? Yeah, absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely. That was a 2,000-yard scope on that 30-yard. Yeah, and it cost 2 bands also. They can't read. I don't know where Donna dropped that bomb from. I guess something's going on over there. Maybe she's in the wrong chat. I have no clue, but we ain't talking about none of that shit over here tonight. But okay. They had to walk through about 2 neighborhoods to make it to the vehicle. Very hard to wipe all the prints off the weapon that forensics can't detect anyone without a scent. Dog, you wipe that bitch down from the barrel? No. I personally don't touch my rifles without wearing gloves across the board. Handguns, anything. If I'm cleaning them, I'm wiping them down. But I'm not somebody that can't have weapons per se. Moving on, dog. Let's not get caught up on.
And at this point, we can jump back into day 2 of our messages because Robinson says
we could get caught up on it a little bit, but I want to push through the video also. So keep at it. Don't stop. Keep at it. Spinning your theories and with your stances and all that. Keep at it. People don't always think people don't always think he just killed somebody.
He says to Lance, delete this exchange. My dad wants photos of the rifle. He says, Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds released a photo of the rifle, and it is very unique. He's calling me right now. I'm not answering. Okay, so apparently he did answer. According to the indictment, the dad says he didn't answer his text messages, but then the father called him, and Tyler Robinson answered, and he tells us that Tyler was suicidal, and that is when they just told him, like, calm down, let's speak to you. They bring over their neighbor sheriff friend, and they agree that he should go in. Now, if he was in fact suicidal, you don't get that vibe from these messages to his lover, right? There's nothing in here that he's like, I can't believe what I've done. Now he slept. We don't know where. He seems to be perhaps on very little sleep. I would imagine he just murdered someone. And he's not indicating in these messages that he's going through any sort of suicidal feelings. Instead, he sends this very odd thing about his dad, who he says he's not answering. He writes, since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. There's something here for everyone if you want to take the low-hanging fruit and think of this as left versus right, right? So if you're like, on the right, like, I need to blame the left, then it's like, whoa, the trans thing is here. But if you're on the left and you need to blame the right, well, dad was diehard MAGA. It's like, it's so fed. It's just so federally written. It's amazing. So chaos right here. Anyways, I guess maybe if you're suicidal, that's what you said. Dad's been pretty diehard MAGA. And then we don't know, again, when these messages took place, but it all had to happen in these 7 or 8 hours. He says, I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors is here. He is deputy for the sheriff. You are all I worry about, love. He seems impassioned here. He doesn't seem suicidal. And then Lance comes back and says, I'm much more worried about you. And Robinson says, don't talk to the media, please. Don't take any interviews or make any comments because the feds want to let you know why it is that we're not talking to Lance, right? They got to tell you. Because Tyler told him, duh. You're going, wow, if Lance is really not guilty, he hasn't done anything, this would be a good time to speak, right? No, Lance is not doing that because Tyler right here says, don't talk to the media, please. Don't take any interviews or make any comments. And if any police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent. So that's how it happens. And I want to tell you that we can jump back into the timeline here. Our source informs us that it was around 7:00 p.m. when everybody locally began receiving the text messages that Tyler Robinson was in custody and that they were going to pick him up in Warner Valley. Now, Warner Valley is right next to St. George. So he lives very close to his parents. Is what I want you to recognize. You've got St. George, you've got Warner Valley. So they said that that's where they went to go pick him up. That could very much be his parents' place. But what's really interesting about that, okay, if you consider that they are telling us at 7 p.m., this is when all the messages started circulating, then we don't know why the feds say that it was the 33rd hour after the shooting, like a total Freemason number, 33rd hour after the shooting. It took us 33 hours. That would be inaccurate, okay? 33 hours would be at 9:23 p.m. Our person is telling us, and I tend to believe them, that everyone knew at 7:00 p.m., okay? And what they tell us took place thereafter, and this is what I confirmed with Lance's family, because I said, wait a second, you owned the house. When did they pick up Lance? When did Lance go in? When did the home that you own get raided by the feds? Did the home that you own get raided by the feds? And what that family is telling me, and what my source is telling me, it's matching, okay? So I'm feeling good about this. We'll say allegedly, but I'm feeling good about this, okay? So Tyler is allegedly in custody, and they are told, don't say, don't speak, don't do anything. The feds, you have to wait for the feds to get there to question Tyler. And that didn't happen until the wee hours of the morning. How do we know? Because we're going to hear that from Governor Cox the following morning. Anyways, but apparently what happens is then they bring Lance in. At 11 p.m.-ish, we'll tell you around 11 p.m., Lance Twiggs is brought in for questioning, okay? And shortly thereafter, that apartment is raided. And I say overnight into the wee hours of the morning is when they first raid Tyler and Lance's apartment. Now, why am I really stressing this out to you? I'm stressing this point to you here. Because this would signal to you that it would be absolute BS if the feds are going to tell us bright and early the next morning that the case is closed. They would do nothing. According to Lance's family, this is when they seize his electronics. They say that he's deep on the internet web, that there's definitely going to be something there. And yet they told us that, quite oddly, Lance gets released right back to his parents. Right? Not right back. Lance just gets released to his parents while they're raiding his apartment. Why would they release Lance? Wouldn't you think that you would be detained like for at least 24 hours, right? If we're putting this at around 11 p.m.-ish, that they have brought him in and they are questioning him and they are now moving to raid his apartment in the wee hours in the morning, why would they very quickly release him? And beyond that, I'm going to let you know, let's jump into Friday on the timeline. Like I said, early hours, Tyler and Lance have their apartment raided and the device is seized. For whatever reason, the FBI quickly releases Lance. And I'm told that he's dropped off at his parents' home, allegedly. And then it's at 6 a.m. that President Trump announces with a high degree of certainty that they have the suspect, okay? So are they still raiding his place? I don't know, but take a listen to Trump on Fox and Friends.
Any updates on the suspect?
Yeah. Can I always say, I think, just to protect us all, and so Fox doesn't get sued, and we all don't get sued and everything else, but I think with a high degree of certainty, we have him in custody. Okay? In custody. Everyone did a great job. We worked with the local police, the governor. Everybody did a great job.
Okay. And here is what the governor is then 2 hours later, as when his press conference began. I'm going to do the short clip. Okay, let's play actually a little bit of the longer clip, Skylar. I'll tell you when to come out of it. It's a 6-minute long clip, and you should go back and watch it in its entirety. He's going to make it seem like, Lance doesn't even exist. But let's start it off and listen to a minute of this, and then I'll give the synopsis.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. On the evening of September 11th, a family member of Tyler Robinson reached out to a family friend who contacted the Washington County Sheriff's Office with information that Robinson had confessed to them or implied that he had committed the incident. This information was relayed to the Utah County Sheriff's Office and scene investigators at Utah Valley University. This information was also conveyed to the FBI. Investigators reviewed additional video footage from UVU surveillance and identified Robinson arriving on UVU campus in a gray Dodge Challenger at approximately 8:29 a.m. on September 10th, in which he is observed on video in a plain maroon t-shirt, light-colored shorts, a black hat with a white logo, and light-colored shoes. When encountered in person by investigators in Washington County on September 12th, in the early morning hours, Robinson was observed in consistent clothing with those surveillance images.
Okay, stop. That's actually a perfect place to stop right there. My source says he's lying. I don't like Governor Cox. Vibes. Okay, vibes. I don't know. Can't explain it. I'm getting a ton of people that are messaging me telling me he's corrupt, that he forced himself onto the ballot, that he wasn't even supposed to be the governor. Allegedly. I just don't like him. Every time we find an inconsistency, I actually find him to be the mouthpiece of it, okay? So he is representing, and my source says falsely, that they picked up Tyler Robinson. And by the way, it makes perfect sense that my source is saying that that's not accurate. In the same outfits that we just showed you, okay, of the maroon thing that happened at 8 o'clock. We don't know what he was doing for 4 hours on campus, but he's telling us that for 33 hours, he decided that he was going to keep the outfit on. Now, remember, I told you that Tyler Robinson's classmate reached out and they insisted that this was an incredibly odd thing because he was very tidy. He was very clean. And they said that's the first thing that they went, that just sounds weird. He was a very tidy dude. Now I'm telling you that my source is saying he wasn't wearing that outfit when he got picked up. He wasn't wearing that outfit when he was brought to the office. If I have this wrong, this would be a very easy thing. Okay, surely they're going to have photos. They've got something for them to release. It's like, yeah, no, we totally got him. I want to be clear. If you are in the police station and you want to reach out and let me know more, tips@CandiceOwens.com, because I'm struck by this. This is what we should be hyper-focusing on. He kind of wraps it up and says he was wearing the same outfit. And that always sounded dumb to us. Why would you not take a shower in 33 hours? Okay, that doesn't make any sense to anybody whatsoever. And people are saying that fact is untrue. Okay, now, if that is untrue, let's first show you how he wraps this up. We might show you a portion of what he said again because we wanted to compress his 6-minute clip, but listen to how he wraps up this conference too, because it's relevant.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We got him. This is a very sad day for our country, a terrible day for the state of Utah, but I'm grateful that at this moment we have an opportunity to bring closure to this very dark chapter in our nation's history.
Closure. He says closure. We got him. They already start in that he starts talking about the messages. He starts filling in the blanks. He said he had it. He put it in a towel. We have messages. It's all over. We found it on Discord. Discord is going to say that's not true. So who made up these messages? When were these messages made up is the question. If Discord is saying they don't exist, this signals to me that these messages were just created, right? And I'm further feeling that way because there's no timestamps. Again, I want to be proven wrong. Okay, I don't like this at all. And we got him. It's over. And we can turn the page with finality. Would you, if you were an honest governor and you knew that only, again, 4 hours earlier, How long does it take to raid a home? I don't know. Is it quick? Is it like a 10-minute thing? It feels like it can be a long thing to grab the devices. If you knew that you had not even begun going through those devices, how would you say that we can close this chapter? Why would you say that we can close the chapter? I would have said, honestly, and he does not, we raided his home and we are looking for more information. We think that there's going to be a lot more information, but we wanted to let you know that we at least have one person that we feel is definitely involved. That's not what he says. He says it's over. It's done. Wrap it up. We're not going to even tell you about the fact that we just raided this place a couple of hours ago. And the person whose place we raided, who is the one that the family says is super internet, we just kind of released. We weren't interested in that. What are we to discern from all of this? I'll tell you my take on this. I think the person in the maroon that's walking is different from the person that's walking up the stairs. It's a gut thing, okay? I don't know, but I know, okay? I don't know, but I know. It makes sense in the timeline of George Zinn, the decoy, that we've got other people that are doing different things, and it is they do not want us to prod the narrative about the person in maroon. It doesn't make sense. They can't tell us. He said he planned this for weeks, so I'm going to assume he planned it for weeks, and he didn't go to campus earlier because he wanted to scope things out. He would have done that. He would have obviously been able to do that already because he's been planning this for a week. He knew where Charlie was speaking, right? Make it make sense. It's very easy to debunk me. Very easy. You should have footage of him in that Dodge Challenger just waiting and salivating. He kept checking. He said, oh, here I am right here, just waiting to get that rifle back. I'm waiting to get that rifle back. Where's the footage? You were on a manhunt. Where is the footage? Surely during a manhunt, you used drones. I feel like we are tech capable enough that during a manhunt, after a murderer of a college student decides to take out Charlie Kirk, who has been a friend of the feds, right? I think probably not a good idea to be friends with these people, but whatever. He's been a friend of the feds. Surely this is a big issue. And to put your rest in conspiracies, you're going to show us that drone footage, and we're going to see the Dodge Challenger just sitting there for hours and hours and hours. And we're maybe even going to be able to see, because I'm sure at that point, like cops maybe set up some barricades or something as he was going in and out. And then he decides he's going to leave. Show us the footage. Like I said, every inch of that campus is covered. So we should be able to see he's wearing maroon. And you're telling us that he went back to his car and he changed. Show us him leaving campus before he returns back to campus around 11:30. Just show us the footage. Okay. I'm demanding it. You know why? Because I need to be able to fit things into my timeline, if that's okay with you. So I would discern that we are looking, just vibe again, two different people would be my thing. Two different people. One of those people is definitely, individuals is definitely being protected. And separately, we can definitely make out that for whatever reason, Lance is being protected. There's no way you release that guy, okay? There's no way you release that guy immediately. There's no way that you intentionally purge him out of these messages, okay? The excuse, he's being cooperative, doesn't work. You can be cooperative while you're still being detained. At least 24 hours before you would say, I felt good to clear him as a suspect, especially when you haven't even raided his home yet. They released him instantly and they said, job done. So I would like more information about Lance Twiggs, okay? I already don't like.
You see how normal and linear she thinks. Normal and linear. It's sensible. It's linear. And because I'm playing it in this speed, it seems like she's being, let's say, a little bit more hostile. It's just the speed of it. If you go watch the real video, she's actually really, really calm. Her brain is extremely analytic, and I fucks with it.
That mom received a Bachelor of Science from Stanford University in psychology. It seems to be a running theme in these Fed ops that there's always psychology somewhere in the family. And I want to be very clear, I'm not saying his mom has anything to do with anything, but I am saying that I feel this kid, for some reason, some unknown reason, is being protected. And I'm not the only one. His family feels that way. Okay. His family thinks it's odd. Like I said yesterday, I spoke to them today. I spoke to them yesterday. They think it's odd that the feds moved on from him so quickly and that the feds were being dishonest, and they felt about everything when they first came out with information. So why are we all feeling that way? We absolutely need to get to the bottom of it. Let's take a quick break. I'm going to show you some stuff. I mean, Tucker completely destroyed the Bibi Netanyahu narrative. Megyn Kelly, Dave Smith. I mean, everybody yesterday. The truth is coming out inevitably about Charlie's mindset. The only reason we're discussing it, obviously, is because of Bibi Netanyahu coming out and lying. But some important things that he said. First and foremost, before we do that, I want to remind you guys about Riverbend Ranch, because I absolutely love them as a company. And I know that there were so many people, so many companies that wanted to make sure that they did something to try and heal and also to try to remember Charlie. And Riverbend Ranch did the exact same thing. They put together the following tribute to honor him.
We pay tribute to Charlie Kirk, and we celebrate the tremendous good he did in his life. Charlie courageously advocated for the sacred principles of freedom, constructive discourse, truth, family values, and common sense. He taught with humor and wisdom, and backed up his beliefs with data and facts. He set a powerful example of reaching out and talking to those who disagreed with him. We mourn his passing, but what he taught us continues to resonate with even more power.
A message from all of us at Riverbend Ranch.
Also want to remind you guys of Beekeeper's Natural, because as a mom of 4 young kids, life is constantly on the move. There's school drop-offs, there's work, there's travel, there's play dates, and let's be honest, germs are everywhere. That's why I'm so thankful for Beekeeper's Naturals and their amazing propolis throat spray. If you haven't heard of propolis, it's this natural immune-supporting substance that bees make to protect their hives. It's like nature's own shield, packed with antioxidants and over 300 beneficial compounds. It's been used for centuries to help support immunity, to soothe scratchy throats, and to keep you feeling your best. I use propolis throat spray, especially during travel or school season. It's clean, natural. It is free from all the junk that you cannot pronounce. There's no dyes, no chemicals, and no fake sugars. Beekeeper's Naturals recently launched a kid-friendly version of their nasal spray. The mist is super soft and it's gentle, so kids will actually use it. So whether you're a busy parent or just... But like, no, and that feels intentionally grainy. You could release clearer footage. You know you can release clearer footage. So do it, because we're not going to let it go. I now believe there is a federal level of corruption and conspiracy involved in this murder, okay? From George Zinn to Lance Twiggs, the unanswered questions were like, what was he doing at home? What does he do for a living? What was, did they see each other that night? Why are we doctoring their messages? Why can't I read Lance's messages? If he's being so forthcoming, why can't I read how he replied and at what time his messages were sent? Okay. There are too many things that the feds can easily do to dissuade us. Okay. And they're not doing any of it. They're just doing that thing, which is like, are we still talking about it? No, now they're actually doing the like, this is inappropriate. Charlie's funeral's coming up. Stop yourselves right now. Okay. Stop. This is exactly, no, oh, you're inappropriate. No, you know what was inappropriate? Charlie Kirk getting shot. While we all had to watch that, we are all suffering PTSD and the lack of answers that we are getting from the feds. That is the only thing here that is happening that is inappropriate. I want to be very clear. Actually, not the only thing. Bibi Netanyahu trying to spin this into, he's my good friend, I just invited him. Well, Tucker Carlson completely shredded that narrative. I don't like that Bibi lied so quickly. It doesn't make me comfortable. I don't like it. Okay. And he just went live yesterday. He also brought in Megyn Kelly and other people. And he spoke about what Charlie was going through because he saw him very shortly before his assassination. And he intimates to everybody what it was exactly that was on Charlie Kirk's mind and what he was living through in that moment. Take a listen.
I was shocked and sickened by the reaction of the ghoulish and really repulsive reaction of the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, to Charlie's death. Basically made it all about him and all about his country, immediately trying to take the energy, the sadness, the grief that people felt over Charlie's murder and redirect it towards support for whatever project he's involved in. And by the way, Benjamin Netanyahu is not the same as the nation of Israel at all. Bibi is despised by many people in Israel. And if you know people who live there, you know that that's true. There are huge divisions within the Israeli government. I mean, there are certain parts of the intel world in Israel that do not support some things that Benjamin Netanyahu has done recently. So it's not the same as attacking Israel, attacking Bibi. But I don't think I've ever seen anything lower than his attempt to hijack Charlie's memory and use it for his own political ends, particularly because what he said was completely untrue. Charlie didn't hate Jews. He loved Jews. He had tons of friends who were Jews. He loved the state of Israel, loved going there. He did not like Bibi Netanyahu. And he said that to me many times. And he said to people around him many times. He felt that Bibi Netanyahu was a very destructive force. He was appalled by what was happening in Gaza. He was, above all, resentful that he believed Netanyahu was using the United States to prosecute his wars for the benefit of his country, and that it was shameful and embarrassing and bad for the United States, and he resented it. He didn't hate Netanyahu.
Fucking proxy wars.
Quickly, doesn't make me comfortable. I don't like it. Okay. And he just went live yesterday. He also brought in Megyn Kelly and other people. And he spoke about what Charlie was going through because he saw him very shortly before his assassination. And he intimates to everybody what it was exactly that was on Charlie Kirk's mind and what he was living through in that moment. Take a listen.
I was shocked and sickened by the reaction of the ghoulish and really repulsive reaction of the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, to Charlie's death. Basically made it all about him and all about his country, immediately trying to take the energy, the sadness, the grief that people felt over Charlie's murder and redirect it towards support for whatever project he's involved in. And by the way, Benjamin Netanyahu is not the same as the nation of Israel at all. Bibi is despised by many people in Israel.
Y'all have to fucking listen to this shit. Y'all, this is the shit y'all have to fucking listen to.
Exactly that was on Charlie Kirk's mind and what he was living through in that moment. Take a listen.
I was shocked and sickened by the reaction of the ghoulish and really repulsive reaction of the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, to Charlie's death. Basically made it all about him and all about his country, immediately trying to take the energy, the sadness, the grief that people felt over Charlie's murder and redirect it towards support for whatever project he's involved in. And by the way, Benjamin Netanyahu is not the same as the nation of Israel at all. Bibi is despised by many people in Israel. And if you know people who live there, you know that that's true. There are huge divisions within the Israeli government. I mean, there are certain parts of the intel world in Israel that do not support some things that Benjamin Netanyahu has done recently. So it's not the same as attacking Israel, attacking Bibi. But I don't think I've ever seen anything lower than his attempt to hijack Charlie's memory and use it for his own political ends, particularly because what he said was completely untrue. Charlie didn't hate Jews. He loved Jews. He had tons of friends who were Jews. He loved the state of Israel, loved going there. He did not like Bibi Netanyahu. And he said that to me many times. And he said to people around him many times. He felt that Bibi Netanyahu was a very destructive force. He was appalled by what was happening in Gaza. He was, above all, resentful that he believed Netanyahu was using the United States to prosecute his wars for the benefit of his country, and that it was shameful and embarrassing and bad for the United States, and he resented it. Didn't hate Netanyahu. He wasn't out there with a placard saying that, but
y'all have asked yourself the simple question: why a country so great as America, a country that has battled, a country that has been deprived, a country that's suffered, a country that has been through every majority of the wars on the planet, a country that fights proxy wars. Why are they involved with such a young country? Israel ain't an old country. It's one of the younger countries. What is the fucking... explain to me, what is the loyalty to them? What is the loyalty? If somebody could sum this up in a sentence to me, I greatly fucking appreciate it. I just don't fucking see it. What is the loyalty to Israel? Nobody. I thought so. Because they don't make fucking sense.
he certainly expressed that to me and a lot of other people. And there's no question that Bibi's defenders on the internet will call me a liar or a kook, but that's a fact. And enough text messages exist that I think it can probably be verified in pretty short order. Not that it needs to be, because that is true. Shortly after that speech, there was a very intense attack on Charlie, and to some extent on me, not that I really noticed, but on him, I have no donors. He had $100 million worth of donors. And so, because he was involved in a different project from just yapping on the internet, which is what I do for a living, he was dependent to a great extent on his donors, of course. It's a nonprofit. And they went after him and tormented him. Not all, of course, many were supportive, but the ones who were offended by my speech, and there was a small, very intense group who were, tormented Charlie Kirk until the day he died. 2 days before he died, he lost a $2 million donation because he had publicly pledged to bring me to the next Turning Point conference in December. And he told me over the past couple of months, he was losing a lot of donations over that pledge. They put out a flyer basically saying that I was going to be at this event giving speech. And so he would text me and say, man, I'm really taking a lot of heat for this, and people are really mad. The American Jewish Committee called in a statement Charlie Kirk an anti-Semite, and quote, dangerous. Charlie Kirk, an anti-Semite. Yeah. He was not an anti-Semite. He was the opposite. And he was not dangerous. He was a great lover of people and a purveyor of peace. He was the opposite. And he was very stung by that. And those of us who've been called names for a long time are a little bit harder to offend. Charlie was deeply offended by that and expressed some of those feelings on Megyn Kelly's show and in other places. But that did not let up. The reason I'm telling the story is because he called me and then came to see me at my house about this topic. And I said to him every single time, look, I've got my own way to communicate my views. This is actually not the most important issue to me. Lots of things I can talk about. I don't need to come to Turning Point. I can take a year off, no problem. I hated seeing how much he was suffering, the hassle he was getting from people. And I was being attacked too, by the way. It was a huge effort. I wasn't fully aware of it, actually, because I don't go online that much. But there was a huge effort by people, some of whom I know and have helped, and like Seth Dillon, the Babylon Bee, for example. Someone who had his own problems with free speech, who was famously canceled. I like Seth Dillon. I had him on a couple of times. I had dinner with him to show support. Seth Dillon was out there demanding that Charlie Kirk take me off the roster, pull me off stage, because I had said things that Bibi didn't like or that he didn't like or whatever. Shocking that someone whose whole persona is wrapped up in the idea that we all get to speak, and if you don't like it, make a more compelling case, that person and many others like him were advocating for me getting pulled off the stage because they don't like what I'm saying. This is a trend, and one that we should be really concerned about. It's not just about Israel, by the way, at all. The trend is really simple. People with power don't want to hear disagreement. They don't want to be challenged, ever. That's why we have free speech, to acknowledge that even those of us or people with less power still have a right to talk because they're human beings. You don't own them. So time after time, Charlie would call me or come to see me and let me know, wow, or show me text messages. These people are really mad that you're speaking. And I always have the same thought, like, I feel pretty moderate, actually. I've never been an Israel hater. Obviously, I'm not an anti-Semite. I just don't want more wars. And I don't want a foreign country humiliating my country and telling us what our laws have to be. I mean, this seems like pretty basic America First stuff. And he would say, I totally agree with you, but they want you off the stage. And I would always say, no problem. And he would say, no, it's important. It's a matter of principle. I want you to be there. Great. By the way, I'm not accusing anyone of being involved in that murder. I'm not trying to mutter darkly or imply anything. There's a lot we don't know about who murdered Charlie and why, but I don't know, and I'm not going to pretend that I do. But I think it's important to say that out loud because it's a fact, and there are many liars out there Bibi Netanyahu, number one among them, shamefully, who are trying to distort the truth, a truth that I know and can prove.
What I want to add here is that it takes a truly demonic spirit, right, to be a part of the people that were swarming, pressuring, threatening, intimidating Charlie, to then flip in 1 second after he dies and say, pretend it never happened, like they were just great friends. That's weird to me. It's very weird to me. We wouldn't be here if they didn't do that. They could have said anything, by the way. Like, Josh, Hammer, I know how you were messaging him. Like, release the messages, buddy. Just release all of your threads with Charlie in the 48 hours leading up to his death, okay? Let people see it. They did it at first regarding me last year. They insisted, and I said, Charlie, I couldn't even come up for air. I said, Charlie, don't even think about it. I don't even care. Don't even fight your donors. Just let them think they won because I got to rebuild my entire life. I was just publicly fired. You know what I mean? Like, this is not, you're good. Like, you are so good. I couldn't even care about this less. Like, you're a brother to me. Do what you have to do to survive, okay? And then he just saw them moving into it. It wasn't just Candice. They wanted Tucker. You know, let her talk to Tucker. Tucker shouldn't be here. And then Charlie realized which way the wind was blowing because it's never enough. It's never enough with them, okay? They want to be the authority on speech. And it's reality that those very same people who were pressuring him and threatening him and intimidating him and calling him an anti-Semite and telling him he was posting anti-Semitism then became...
Now he's a fuck. Fuck. Curly, what's up, beautiful? You're no. Day one. What's up, beautiful? Hope all is well. I still ain't get no email from you about the flight trips. You hear me? Reap, I'm shooting at every motherfucking body. Every single motherfucker who pull up in this bitch and don't recognize the motherfucking owner first. But you start running off at the fucking mouth, talking to everybody else in the fucking chat, or running off at the fucking mouth, talking about fucking topics and being rude and disrespectful. Like you don't know you in a different house and not your own fucking house. Smoke. Wondering, Israel keeps the Middle East unstable in U.S. interests. It's basically an alliance against Islam from being able to expand power beyond the Middle East by keeping the region unstable. I can see it. I wanna comprehend what is the bonding point, right? There's a bonding point. It's where we've seen every single fucking president since I've probably been born have an affinity to Israel. And I don't comprehend why the affinity for Israel is so fucking high. And we let every other country deal with their own bullshit, right? And now we label these other countries. And I do exactly see. I do know exactly what you're saying. That's why I brought up the word proxy war early on. So I know me and you talking about the same thing. But I want to ask the other question. Why is this well, you answered why it's important and it has interest towards the US. Got it. But what is the inception point of this? What is the inception? Like, when does this happen as America bonded to Israel or Israel bonded to America? Because I know exactly how the trade between them goes. Why? It's interest in the area and all the other shit. We already been through a World War III that I don't think people really want to argue about, but it's not a real world war because they didn't sanction it as a real world war. But if you think about after 9/11 that we just celebrated and we just paid hella respect for everybody losing their lives, whether it was people that was on at the towers at NY, people that suited up and got booted up to go play desert war games with people, right? We already know all this stuff. Why Israel then? Because remember, at one point, the U.S. backed Saddam until they decided, well, Saddam ain't the homie no more. You smell me? Either way, that's what my brain is. My brain is deep diving it at this very moment. And I probably won't get the answer till tomorrow. I'll probably wake up and have the answer. But either way, I appreciate the feedback, dog. You kicking some funk. Appreciate the intellectual exchange. Big salute to you. You're more than welcome to pull up here anytime. You heard? No sticks, no stones, no beef, no bullshit. You hear me? Mix, take care of yourselves, y'all. Appreciate you for popping by. Take care of yourself. Have a good night. Relax. Do what you gotta do. Yeah, Reaper, you know, these motherfuckers know how I get down, bro. All these little funny little gimmick jokes they like to fucking make. I'll press any and everybody. That's how my brain works. It's just how the fuck it is. You hear me? The Gulf War made America realize that they would really need a country that it is same sort of. But that's already that conflict in itself, though, because the Gulf War was late. When it no. They let me stew on that one, G. I'll stew on that one. Appreciate the conversation.
The fastest people to try to eulogize him and to say, look no further, he effectively died for Bibi Netanyahu. It's wrong, and we have to stand up to that narrative. Matt Gaetz jumped into the ring and basically just doubled down on what Tucker Carlson said. He tweeted this. I have personal knowledge as to many of the claims Tucker is making here. They are 100% true. Yes, they were behaving like demons. There's just no question. It's very weird when a demon then pretends that they weren't being demonic. You could be chill. You could have transformed it after Charlie was assassinated. You could have said, wow, my last correspondence with him was I was upset about something, and now I realize that life is so short and fragile, and it's really not worth it to skirmish with one another. Like, I really regret my last correspondence. And then I'd be like, okay, that was really authentic and real. Instead, they were like, we had a wonderful time. I wasn't, what? Oh, love Charlie. Just loved him so much. Something is weird about that. Spiritually, it's evil. That's what it is. It's evil. And in case you needed any more, another person to tell you that he was being intimidated and they were bullying him about who he could speak to, here's Megyn Kelly. She joined Tucker Carlson, and she says this very quickly. Take a listen.
Charlie is not the only one who's been threatened or was threatened to cut ties with you or not platform you. I too have gotten that, especially since you've been more outspoken on Israel. And I couldn't care less the amount of pressure they put on. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. This is madness. Why would you want to silence such a powerful, important voice just because you disagree with them on one subject, one on which we've all watched you sincerely evolve as you grapple with principles you've been espousing for years, like America First, like what's happening to Christians, like what's best for us and our kids here. How do I keep them safe? That's my number one priority. And I've been just absolutely disgusted and recoiled from people who have tried to pressure me on it. It, of course, never happened. But I know from speaking to Charlie, he felt it too. You've heard it from Charlie that he felt, and there is a layer here of nefarious pressure to have certain narratives go only one way.
Yes.
That must be called out and must be fought.
Love that. Like, Megyn, that was amazing. Thank you. I think all of us right now are just feeling we have to speak. Okay. So if you know something about what was going on, if you have something, send it all to me because I'm organizing. Okay. I'm getting a lot of tips. By the way, many of you guys spoke about the individual who very quickly, I think 4 minutes after Charlie was shot, went and took the camera down and moved his chair and stood up and took the camera down literally 4 or 5 minutes after he was shot. I want to let you know, I was able to figure out who that person was because I recognized one of the individuals, and I reached out to that individual and I said, you know, I've known you for a long time and I would like to see the footage. I would like to see the footage, and I think the world would trust me. If there's nothing weird that happened on that day and there's about 4 or 5 cameras on that day, I'm not going to publish the footage, but I want to see it with my own 2 eyes so I can stand on this platform, so I can sit here on this platform and I can say to the world, no funny business happened. Truly, we can all go home. It was Tyler Robinson and he acted alone and there was nobody else there. And this kid just, I guess, after having a life where he didn't bother anybody, just woke up one day and chose violence and then decided to explain every layer of what he had done that day via text messages. I want to be able to look people in the eye honestly and say that. So I want to see all of his footage. So I am working to get to the bottom of it. Okay. I know there's a lot of conspiracy theories floating in about the security guard and people thinking he was making gestures. I know that security person. He's a good guy. It would shock me. I usually vibe about somebody. Not that guy. Not the guy that they say he's like rolling up. He tends to do that, roll up his sleeves. I don't buy that one. Okay. I don't buy that one. And, but here's the thing. That's my gut. My gut has led me in the right way. I want you guys to know that once I look at all the footage from every angle, if I'm putting in this formal request and they said they would speak to the lawyers, I think the world will trust me to say there was no funny business and this is exactly what happened. So I've put in that request and I want you guys to know that. And I mean business. I'm getting to the bottom of this. And lastly, I want to say to this like new flex operation mocking pastor, regarding which, by the way, the first time they went after Tucker Carlson and Candice Owens, a source told me, and I would love to get this confirmed, I'm going to find this out, that $150 million was spent on that and it came from Bibi Netanyahu. I would like to figure out if that's true. But anyways, obviously investigating this, and I'm not going to let it go, okay? You're not going to emotionally use some jujitsu, and I'm referring here to Roy or Rob McCoy, who says, I'm Charlie's pastor, and here's the truth, or whatever it is, to look the other way right now, okay? You're not going to tell me that I have to feel too bad to investigate who shot my friend in front of my face. So stop the nonsense. This is what Charlie's pastor passed around to all of the people that were intimidating Charlie leading up to his death. And I would love to get this confirmed. I'm going to find this out, that $150 million was spent on that, and it came from Bibi Netanyahu. I would like to figure out if that's true. But anyways, obviously investigating this, and I'm not going to let it go, okay? You're not going to emotionally use some jujitsu, and I'm referring here to Roy or Rob McCoy, who says, I'm Charlie's pastor, and here's the truth, or whatever it is, to look the other way right now, okay? You're not going to tell me that I have to feel too bad to investigate who shot my friend in front of my face. So stop the nonsense. This is what Charlie's pastor passed around to all of the people that were intimidating Charlie leading up to his death. It's funny that Charlie's pastor couldn't find his voice when Bibi Netanyahu was lying about Charlie. There's pastor, you know what he's saying are lies. No, he didn't find his voice saying anything about Bibi Netanyahu. Candice investigating things? Yeah, that's got to stop. Here's what he wrote, okay? What's his name? Rob McCoy. He wrote, Charlie Kirk was my friend and I was his pastor. I want to simply say this regarding Candice Owens. Charlie Kirk was a friend to Candice and never publicly spoke poorly of her, though he disagreed with her. He never operated or entertained gossip or innuendo concerning Candice. My only comment I offer regarding Candice is this. I only wish at this tragic time of mourning, she would be the friend to Charlie Kirk that he was to her. He would never have treated Candice or her family in such a way had, God forbid, this tragedy been hers. A friend loves at all times. And he drops a biblical proverb. Now, let me say this, okay? I hope that Charlie would have been the sort of friend that I'm being. Okay, he would have never. Why? Why wouldn't Charlie Kirk have investigated if I had been killed and we were being so obviously lied to? I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong. I think Charlie was a real friend and he would not have dropped it. He would not have let it go, least of all, because he was being emotionally manipulated by a guy who curiously kept his mouth shut when Bibi lied. You knew, if you were really his close friend and pastor, how he was feeling about Bibi Netanyahu. You knew, if you were his close friend and pastor, exactly the names of everybody who was intimidating him and how poorly they are misrepresenting the things that he believed. So why don't you focus on being more honest as a pastor and giving as much information as you can possibly provide so that we can continue this investigation? If you can't do this, I'm going to have to ask for your silence, okay? Be quiet. I mean that. Nobody is going to stop me from investigating what happened to Charlie Kirk, because it feels to me, okay, that this is a conspiracy, a federal level conspiracy, which means that there's going to be somebody else, so maybe somebody close to Charlie that could be involved in this, right? And when I am satisfied that there is no conspiracy, I will communicate that. But at the moment, no, I am feeling the exact opposite. I don't trust anybody. There's a lot more information that I wish I could share, but I'm going to tell you guys, it's going to get uglier. And these absolute demons are trying to justify saying you should investigate until the funeral, until the state funeral, until, as I have heard, people are trying to buy their way. Okay. Oh, I've given this much money. I want to say some remarks about Charlie Kirk. Okay. Stop. Okay. Just stop. A real friend would investigate someone's murder and they would not stop until they felt good about the resolution and the answers that they were given. And I'll let you know when that is, Pastor. Okay. All right, before I get into some of your comments and see what you guys are thinking about all of this, I want to remind you about the wellness company, because you may have, or maybe you didn't, but if you didn't know, then you should, that methylene blue being sold.
And that's it, pretty much, in a nutshell, right? She riding for her motherfucking dog.
Online.
Shut up.
Is the same grade that is used in fish.
Riding for her dog, bro. And we all wish that we had a homie that'd sit there and go motherfucking ride for us. If there was some bullshit going on, you felt some bullshit was going on, shit wasn't making sense, things weren't linear. Was this the live from today? Yes, this is exactly how live from today, Miss Williams. Condia is listed to Candice and Condia, CNC. All right. Yes, this is her live from today. I actually sniped it immediately as soon as it was over with. I sniped it to talk about it tonight. I have another video. Now I'll probably play it according to the length of it. I can't remember how I don't think this one is lengthy though. But I tell you what, in true FDNHT fashion, Miss Candia, welcome. Welcome to the town square where all is clean and all is fair. Kick up your feet, relax your hair. Tell Brenna the barmaid you want some wine. You don't ever drink beer. You heard? China Rose, shot some beers for everybody. Quick break. Let me settle in. Messi has taught you well. You just don't learn. It's a shame. Take 30 minutes this time. Enjoy. Have a good night. You just don't learn. Just don't learn. I think she thinks when she comes over here, this is Messy's channel for some reason. Because I see her jump in Messy's chat and say, "Hey, Messy," but she comes to my chat and says hello to everybody else and don't say shit to me. So I think she's doing this on purpose and purposely to be rude at this point. So I'm gonna purposely address it the way it needs to be addressed. You heard? Nice and easy. Let's take a quick spin. Quick spin. Let Chels figure it out. Yeah, Candia, this is the one for exactly from today. You're more than welcome to hang out over here in the town square, like, share, subscribe, and all that good shit, because you kind of I'm meeting you at the most serious stage of FDNHT. Most times we have a lot of fun and we drop lessons in between it, but I think this is something that's serious that we need to talk about. That's why I'm doing it. That's what we do over here, right? We live, we learn, and we love. So what we about to do is take a quick spin, you hear me? And then I'll figure something else out, because I had the other video that she did for Charlie. I think, you know what, we're gonna watch that. Tonight's Candice Owens night. Quick spin, you heard? Y'all already know what to do. It is. I wonder if before Messi, did you ever know anything? I think this is scary at this point. Messi, you might have a stalk on your hands. You might need to make a report. I'm gonna block this channel for 2 months. Blocking it right now. Sure, don't be speaking for nobody over here. Everybody dealing with this shit. Everybody gonna get smoked. Everybody getting smoked. Especially on nights like this when we're being serious. Everybody getting smoked. Pound for pound. Fuck around if you want to. I'm about to look at this other video, man. And this video is kind of low. It ain't a bad video at all by any means. By any means. This is her really showing how much she fucked with that boy. In my heart, I believe she fucked with that boy. In my heart, I do. Especially when she crowns herself as a Mason of Turning Point America, right? Too many times in this world, in this life that we live, we get caught up on things that have zero to do with somebody's character. Number one thing is a political view. We could be neighbors, and because you're a lefty and I'm a righty, I'm a lefty and you are righty, we get caught up on things that are so frivolous instead of thinking about how togetherness we could actually do things that need to be done, let's say for the neighborhood, and stress that out to the country. These people take these points of division that were given to you. They give you points of division, and what you do is you align yourself with each one. For whatever reason, it does not make sense. I don't give a I could tell you, I don't give a fuck, for one, what you look like. Two, how you voting. Three, what kind of car you drive. There's so many frivolous points that exist in this world that people are so fucked off in the mind, they rather fight the frivolous points because they're weak and they're easy than talk about the real fucking heavy hitting issues. Case in point. The poor blacks have the same issue as the poor whites, the poor Mexicans, the poor Asians, the poor middle. I don't even know what the fucking proper word to call these people. I just call them Arabs, and I mean that shit with no disrespect. That's what I think. That's just what it comes to. Got it. Cool. Moving on. Everybody on the planet that's poor has the same issue. Lack of fucking resources. That is a point that we are similarly attached to at the same time, regardless if it's the same neighborhood, a dissimilar neighborhood, the same country, or different continents. We are experiencing the same type of fucking stress, poverty, the feeling of being downtrodden, and all these things. But what you tend to focus on is the parts that make you so dissimilar. Well, that person is black, and that person is white, and that person is green, and that's yellow, and that's red, and that's fucking purple, and that motherfucker got 3 titties because that motherfucker from Mars. When we come, let me say this shit. When you have to look for when you have to look for points of dissimilarity, that means you are fighting against the similarity in itself. Do you comprehend that? If you have to look for dissimilarity points, that means similarity already fucking exists. So you have to find the dissimilar points. Such a weird word. To fight against the similarity in itself. Clear as day. If you could comprehend that simple thing, you could comprehend that a majority of us have the same exact lifestyles, but we are taught in fucked up ways to separate ourselves from each other. You think the Asians and the Asians don't be having beef internally? You think the Arabs and the Arabs don't have beef internally? You think the motherfucking Mexicans and the Mexicans don't have beef internally? The Puerto Ricans don't have beef internally? Whatever the fuck, anybody, any race at any fucking time, when you have people that have different fucking thought and ideology, they have fucking differences. The difference is this. When you and your fucking tribe could sit there in the back room and chop it up and have your fucking dissimilar agreement in private, in private by your fucking self, and come out to the front world and look like a fortified fucking unit standing on one ground, that's a different thing, because now the whole world has to see you as a fucking... The world will never see you as something like this. They will see you as a fucking fist, ready to crash shit. That's the fucking difference. Motherfuckers to sit here and sell out their own fucking people on a constant basis are fucking trash. Motherfuckers who sit here and swirl around this bitch and swear to God because they got a white man and they got a white bitch on their fucking shoulders and all the other shit, fucking garbage. You want to kick your own people back and the people that reflect you, phenotype, and possibly behavior for real, because a lot of y'all motherfuckers the same fucking behavior that sexy rated them got. What y'all doing is y'all being fucking chameleons all the time and acting like you ain't the fucking ratchet bitch from the third ward. But y'all willing to sit there and kick your ancestors back and for acceptance by somebody else. You are the worst type of motherfucker. You the ones that we need to find out and make sure we ain't fucking got no similarities with. Y'all the motherfuckers that do that shit. I don't give a fuck what you do or what the fuck you date, how you date it, what you do with it, how you flip it, how you spread it, how you lay it. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. What I do care about is this. I would never in my fucking life, ever in my life, no matter who the fuck I date. It could be the Martian with the tree tits. It could be the motherfucking red woman from fucking Oklahoma. It could be the white joint from Starbucks with the blonde hair and the fucking ugly ass Uggs she got on her fucking boots. It could be the Mexican joint from motherfucking Mexico City or Guadalajara or motherfucking Campeche. I don't give a fuck. I would never disrespect my own fucking ancestors to feel accepted by somebody the fuck else. Never in my fucking life, G. And I would die on my fucking feet in this fucking world and lay on my fucking knees and bend my fucking knees and die like a fucking coward. Y'all are soft as fuck. Make no mistake. Make absolutely no motherfucking mistake. I do not care what you decide to do with your pipe and what they try to do with their box. What I do care about is how you think and conceptualize your fucking ancestors that went through all this fucking struggle to make sure that you are here today. And if you willing to look at your ancestors in their fucking face and spit in their fucking face based off wanting acceptance from somebody else, we need to build an island for y'all. And let you just go on and do that fucking thing. Go on. Nah, not here, not in the town square, not with the village, not with the village gang. Get the fuck on, G. You think Candice don't get fucking sticks about having a white husband? Have a mixture? You think she don't, dog? Dog, stop. You think she don't get sticks about being a fucking Republican? We're looking at somebody who's dedicated. Somebody that lives with duty, bro. I don't give a fuck what Candice Owens does. I don't care. But what I could tell you was a woman that's this fucking dedicated, this committed, locked in. For this, she is definitely 10 times locked in for her fucking family. Candice be wildin'. Abso-fucking-lutely. And you know what, Candice? Don't stop fucking wilding out. Don't stop. Don't stop for nobody. Don't stop. Do not stop. Don't fucking stop. Keep speaking with your conviction. Keep speaking with your fucking truth that you are seeking. Keep fucking looking for it. Keep being a good friend to fucking Charlie. Keep doing what you're doing. Don't stop. Do not stop for nobody. Don't stop. And I already tagged you in this video. But I want to play the last piece. I'm about to play it. And then we could close out. I got like one or two jokes we could close out the night with, make it a little bit easier, right? So everybody could sleep a little bit better. Instead of thinking like I'm just a fucking raging hammer looking for every raised nail. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just extremely serious about certain things. And yes, I haven't been calm all week. I know this. I know y'all know this. I told y'all the fucking other day. I ain't in a fucking joking mood for real. And it ain't nothing personal. It's nothing personal with nobody. It's nothing personal with nobody. The timeouts is just me being silly and those other shit. Those are my joking moments. Those are my joking moments. Chel's been here for fucking dummy long. Messi been here for dummy long. That's me just kicking up some funk so I don't actually deep dive into the dark spectrum of being super, super, super serious about any of these things. You smell me? Share. Anybody else is talking shit, trust me, I'm talking shit with y'all so I don't go into that fucking blackout phase. That's it. So to y'all, thank you for being here and talking shit with me and having a good time with me. And y'all know it's never personal. Y'all know that. Y'all know we just kick each other backs in from time to time and laugh about it in the town square. You smell me? I'm gonna start playing it. Listen up, because this is the real deal. It's not even 30 minutes. So we'll smoke this out and then we'll do a wrap up. And John, you already know what it is, gang. You already know how we get down over here, bro. Village Town Square shit. You know you're welcome here anytime. For sure, for sure, for sure. Pound for pound, ounce for ounce. I gotta share it, huh? I'm about to walk away and I ain't even fucking share it. This fucking screen jumping is a motherfucker. But yes, this is it right here. This is her actually talking. For real, for real, for real. So comprehend why I stand strongly and I support her in hunting this. This will tell you exactly why I stand with her in hunting down the truth. Like I stood with her when she was hunting down Camelo bullshit. I'm standing with her on this one. I'm not flaky. I'm not in and out of the pocket, but I respect the work that she does. Shout out to you once again, Candice. You'll never, ever lay up. Hunt the truth 24/7, sweetheart. Shout out to you. Shout out to your family. Hope you're all in good standing. I hope the Almighty Creator embraces you every single day and shines his face upon you and your family and hugs y'all in the breast of warmth and comfort. You heard?
The internet one more time. 150,000 of you guys were watching, and the system just sort of crashed. And it just really makes me happy that that happened, actually. It was already very difficult for me to do this for a lot of reasons, but I knew it was important because I didn't want the last thing that people had in their minds about Charlie to be the moment he lost his life. That was what was especially hard, because he's just had so many amazing moments throughout his career. And as I was saying, I was having this discussion with George this morning, obviously through a lot of tears, about not wanting Charlie's caricature to survive when the actual Charlie Kirk individual, who Charlie Kirk actually is so much more important. The caricature, the cartoon, is that Charlie's this young, smart guy, made a career out of debating college kids, decided not to go to college, started Turning Point USA. And I think a lot of people thought that Charlie must take himself a bit too seriously. And I want you guys to know that that could not be further from the truth. Charlie and me were always laughing. Yes, he was ambitious. Everybody knows Charlie's ambitious. I met him back in 2017 when Turning Point was this very young organization. Nobody knew who I was. Nobody knew who Charlie Kirk was. And Charlie was always wearing these really baggy suits. I mean, they looked like they were hand-me-downs from 3 generations, because he was focused on the ideas. He didn't care about his appearance. He was laser focused on what he knew Turning Point could become. Not could become, but would become. He hired me on the spot. We were at this conference in Florida, and he and I used to always say, we never said the rest was history. You know, the rest is history. We say the rest is future. We were totally locked in. And I want you guys to know about our first planning sesh. Okay. It was in the middle of Chicago O'Hare Airport. There is this restaurant that's called the Macaroni Grill. And I sat down with Charlie on our first trip together. He flips over this little paper menu as we're waiting for our flight, and he takes out this pen and he just starts drawing a map of what he wants to happen into the future, what the Turning Point organization will become. It was spastic. It was unhinged. It was the absolute best. It was true Charlie. He was a visionary. Charlie was a visionary. If he could envision it, it was going to happen. He knew that. I knew that. And what he had envisioned was for Turning Point USA to become the biggest conservative student organization, not just in the nation, by the way, but in the world. He kind of squabbled and swiveled and wrote that his structure is currently a 501c3. He's sitting there talking to me, well, here's what we can do in the future, and here's how, and then I'm going to probably take control of the RNC. I mean, he's 23 years old, right? And he's speaking to me about how he's going to take over the RNC. The person that he adored the most, like really, and never in a million years did he think that he was going to meet him. And of course he did, was Rush Limbaugh. He was really raised on Rush Limbaugh, listening to Rush Limbaugh day in and day out. And he told me through many conversations that if he could have a show like Rush Limbaugh one day, he would be very happy. That was, I think, his ultimate goal, and it happened. We had a bunch of rules. Charlie's rule was never say no to Fox News. So even if the show was at 4 a.m. in the morning, crack of dawn, I cannot tell you guys how many hits we did on Fox News. I'm talking 4 hits a day, up at 4 a.m. for Fox and Friends first, and then doing whatever the evening program was, because he believed this is the way that we're going to get our names out there. You know, we have to work harder. My rule was I was like, we shouldn't drink. Everybody in politics is drinking. They're drunk all the time. If we're passionate, we have to understand that it's a disadvantage. People are always made weaker. It doesn't make anybody stronger to be drunk after an event. And so we didn't drink. And we had a couple of mottos, but Charlie's was, we can always outwork our opponents. I can't tell you how many times we looked at each other and we said, we can outwork them. Everyone was bigger than us, but not working harder than us. That came really directly from Charlie. It was the thing that he said we could always control. And I totally agreed with that. Work ethic meant everything. I think it's very obvious to everyone. I was the culture. Charlie was the politics. Charlie needed a little bit more culture. I needed to learn the rules of politics. I mean, he could tell you every office in the White House and what this person does, things I'd never even heard before. I was just passionate about Black Lives Matter. I knew it was going to be harmful for Black Americans. And I wanted to share that message. And Charlie showed me how to do that in the best way possible. I learned very quickly with Charlie that politics breeds unnecessary enemies. It is incredibly it's disheartening industry. You know, you're lucky if you have one friend. You're lucky if you have two friends. There are so many people that will test your character along the way. Like I said, I was a nobody. It was funny going through text messages yesterday, and I'm like, Charlie, my goal is to have 50,000 followers on Instagram. I think we can do it by the end of the year. And after he hired me, he had been working already really hard on doing this campus tour throughout California. He called it the Big Three: UCLA, we're going to do Stanford, we're going to do Berkeley. And there was somebody who was a lot bigger than me at the time who was going to be kind of the face of it, because like I said, people were not going to buy tickets to hear me and Charlie Kirk speak. And he had someone that they definitely would hear speak. And for whatever reason, and this was just my luck, Charlie was pumping gas. He was inside the gas station, and I'm sitting in the car, and I see this person, his phone is sitting in the car, and the messages are lighting up on the screen, and this individual saying, I don't want to do this event with that new girl you hired. Like, I don't want to share the stage with her, essentially. Just mean. I'm just mean-spirited, no reason. I'm bigger than her. I should do this by myself. And then if she wants to come on and be an auxiliary, that's fine. But I don't want to share the stage with her, this newbie. I remember Charlie gets in the car, and he looks at the message, and he looks at me, and he knows I've looked at the message. I saw it. I'm like, Charlie, I said, I have no idea like where this is going. Obviously, I understand that the sensible you doesn't want to lose this person on the ticket, that this means a lot to you and you've worked hard on it, but you're going to have to learn that you have to make the right decision and not the easy decision. And this is only going to work if we keep making the right decisions, you know? And I could just see the struggle within him. And
the name is in the banner, G. Everybody in here. Shout out to Big Reaper sponsoring tonight's show. Absolutely get it. Absolutely appreciate the love, my boy. You already know how we get down over here. We fun, we clown around. But when it comes time to cutting cheese, I cut cheese with machete. People want to cut cheese with them cheese knives. I cut cheese with machete, dog. Get straight to it. I get straight to it. I get straight at it, dog. I appreciate the donation, dog. And if y'all don't know, every donation from now to the middle of October is going to getting the homeless people some blankets and some socks. Every donation I receive from today, 75% of it is going to go to the homeless people in the area to get socks and blankets. It's about to get cold. We all know that, right? That is what it's going to be. 75% of all donations from today will be going to the homeless and the unfortunate, for whatever reason. I don't want to deep dive the fucking reasons, but I know I've been cold before, and I know I didn't have food before. I know that life. But what I'm doing is I'm supplying them with socks and blankets. By next month, October 15, 75% of all donations will be going to those people in the local area. Let's get cold in the desert. I don't know if y'all been to the desert, but it gets fucking cold when the sun disappears. You hear me? That's my goal. That's my objective. That's what I'm sticking to. That's what I'm riding with. Smell me? Easy day.
then he did the right thing. He said, okay, if you don't want to do this event with this newbie Candice, then we're not going to do the event, and Candice and I will do it alone. And we did. We went at it alone. Actually, I think for that particular event, Dave Rubin hopped on, and the rest was future. For 2 years straight, Charlie and I flew around the world together on very little sleep. We were always exhausted. I'm not kidding. We took hundreds of flights together. We slept in the crappiest hotel rooms. I mean, walls so paper thin. You just hear everything. And when you're in that capacity with someone 2 years straight, just traveling nonstop, you really get to know them. You really get to know every condition. You start bickering like an old married couple. Charlie, this is not how you pack a suitcase. I say to him, Charlie, you can't just like put your dirty running shoes on top of your clean shirts. Okay, you just can't do that. Charlie, you need to eat something. Okay, you're running on fumes. You got to eat something. Okay, this is not a full meal. Back forth. Charlie, you got to buy yourself some.
Furthermore, I'm investing my own bread into it. I'm going to invest my own bread into it to make sure that it's more than enough. I'm also doing a clothing drive where me and my daughter are doing a clothing drive, right? So we get bag some clothes up and give it to them. It's not one fold, it's just compassion, right? That's it. Not everybody got the mental ability to get up and go do it. So I believe that when you're able, you do. Right? When you are able, you do. I learned that from my uncle when I was young. But I will also be matching half. It's gonna be between half. I'm gonna match it all the way, but guaranteed half of all donations. I'm gonna match it personally with socks and blankets. Why socks and blankets, Trin? Cold feet fucking sucks. Nobody asshole really be cold. Your sack don't be cold. Your box don't be cold, but your feet gets cold. That's why. It's about socks and blankets. You smell me? I'm gonna match it at a minimum 50%. At a minimum 50%, I'm gonna match whatever donations come in. Wrap that shit up in a bundle. Go to the store. Whatever I get, going to the store, purchasing blankets, purchasing socks, and handing them shits out. That's the deal. I plan to accomplish this by within 10 days. So by the 25th of October, I plan to have all this squared up. You hear me? Cold feet, other words. Yeah, exactly. I've been in the desert I've been in the desert a lot of times. I know that shit is fucking trash. You have poor circulation. Because my feet get cold? No. I just know when it's cold. When it's cold, it's cold. Back to Candice.
Some suits that fit. That conversation, I was like, Charlie, okay, I get it. You're like, boy wonder. You got to buy some suits that fit. I wasn't the only one that was hammering him on that. It was also Don Jr. And eventually him, and I think it was actually him and Eric. They're like, Charlie, I know you're very frugal. We know that you're very aware that your salary comes from donors. He always wanted to be a really good steward of their capital. But eventually Don and Eric got him a gift certificate, I think it was for his birthday, to a fancy suit place to go get fitted. And the rest is future, right? It is so important for me to make sure that you guys understand how absolutely hilarious Charlie was. Charlie was hilarious, okay? He did not take himself too seriously. He was so good at doing imitations and accents. Any imitation, any accent, he was just on the money. And all we did was laugh. It's all you can do and laugh. People were just so crazy all the time. When I was reading through the chat today, I was just laughing with just tears in my eyes, thinking of the many road trips that we took, so many hours spent just talking trash to one another, making fun of one another. One of the best moments that I can think of, and there's so many to choose from, was we were driving through Colorado, and I put on a Kanye song, on my playlist, and Charlie goes, "Is this Jay-Z?" I almost made him pull over the vehicle. I was like, "Are you kidding me? I understand that you don't do culture, but like, come on, you don't know the difference between Jay-Z and Kanye." And he didn't, and I explained to him the difference. I was like, "Okay, no, you got to get into some Kanye West music." Next thing you know, Charlie's really getting into some Kanye West music. He's running 10 miles a day. He got really into running, and he's texting me about how great it is. Like, there's this text, Charlie. He's like, "Yes, it's my new favorite song," and he just loved it. Kanye's Power kind of became our theme song for the tour. I have no idea why, but that was our hype song before we went on stage. So you can only imagine when just a couple of months later, we've been listening to Kanye's old albums on repeat. Suddenly Kanye West tweets, "I love the way Candice Owens thinks." The excitement. Okay, we were certain that we had manifested it. We were 100%. We manifested this by listening to Power on repeat. Actually, I found a clip of us backstage on that day when that tweet happened, and we were doing what I used to refer to as like the Charlie dance. Here it is. You don't understand like the divinity of him tweeting that. Like, I'm living in that 21st century. There's something meaning to it. The era of Kanye. I can't even explain it because you really did have to be there. Charlie was my overly bright and sometimes really annoying kid brother. I was smiling going through my chat of how many times he would text me a picture and say, "Does this look cool? Does this look cool? Do I look cool?" This is like just a screen recording of us talking about a pair of sunglasses. He's just sending me it. I'm like, "Nah, that's not good. Nope, that's not. No, no, send. Okay, that one's okay. That'll work." And this is actually one of my favorite photos of him, where he said, I can just hear him when I look at this photo. I can hear him saying, "Does this look cool?" He was wearing a pair of Yeezys that Kanye gave him, and he looked really cool. I thought they really.
Yo. Once again. Sweet Curly has also donated to the homeless people. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm saying thank you on their behalf. Thank you. Appreciate this. Well, Curls, you always support though. So you a day oneer. You definitely day one Shogun. I absolutely appreciate it, sweetheart. Because this ain't for me. This is I'm not even for the next month. All right. I'm only taking 25%. 25% so I can make sure I'm still thinking. Half thinking and full drinking. Right? We can still carry on this thing and I reinvest the 25% back into here. 75% goes directly to socks and blankets. Curly, you get one more. Man, I like me some. Thank you. Appreciate the support. I'm pretty sure the people that's on the street is gonna be freezing in the desert will appreciate it. Also. Oh shit. Oh, y'all tweaking tonight. Y'all tweaking tonight for sure. All right, I gotta do an update again. Got Reaper ×2. Curls. We got a Biff. Reaper, you already know, G. Appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you. Oh, we just doing something. Give us some shit back. Oh, that's it. If you're able to, then you do. Right? Remember last night we talked about etiquette, about borrowing money, right? And we said last night, we all agreed pretty much that I would never lend somebody some paper, for one, if I don't have that paper to give, and count it as gone. Same thing as gambling. You lend somebody some bread, count that shit as gone. A Biff the super ninja. A Biff is the real ninja out here, dog. I'm telling you. A Biff is the super ninja out here. Big salute to a Biff. Big salute to Reaper again. Once again, that's a Reaper ×2 for the night. You already know. Then we got the studious journeyman. A Biff. The ninja himself. Super ninja. Appreciate y'all, man. I'm absolutely guaranteed and sure that they will absolutely enjoy having some socks, having some blankies coming this fucking winter. I'm guaranteed they will enjoy it. And even you know what? Even if we get enough bread, we could buy underwear. So none of this circumcised, just blankets and fucking socks, right? If we put enough things together, then we bind drawers, socks, and blankets. Because be honest, homeless people have clothing. They have a lot of outside clothing. They might not have a lot of inside clothing, but guaranteed we figured it out. Guarantee we'll figure it out. Absolutely, we'll figure it out. A biff, super
We
ninja.
suited him. I was like, yeah, you look really cool, Charlie. The reverse of that obviously was him constantly hammering me on debates. I mean, Charlie was like, look, you gotta know the arguments of your opponents backward and forward. I remember I had note cards like I was in high school, just memorizing every statistic and being strengthened by, just day in and day out. He was just pretending to be a protester, pretending to be a radical. And he used to always say iron sharpens iron. And we spent so much time practicing debating and really thinking through what our ideas were. Charlie never missed a meeting that he had. He wouldn't do that. He took that very seriously. It doesn't matter what the circumstance was, even if it was a hurricane. And one day there was literally a hurricane. I think we were in North Carolina, South Carolina, I don't remember, but all the flights got canceled and we needed to be in DC by morning. And Charlie looks at me, he's like, we got to rent a car. We got to drive 8 hours. Totally insane. And one of the most fun road trips I've had in my life. Every single song was sung. Me and Charlie were always singing in cars. To show you, this is from that road trip. And then, of course, there was always some hip hop mixed in, Ignition remix. You look cool, Charlie. You look cool. We really did go everywhere. I mean, all 50 states, Canada, down to the border, the United Kingdom, Israel, you name it, we were there. And there was always a new t-shirt to print out, Justice for Brett Kavanaugh, sent to me. How's this one? I love it. We just loved the t-shirts. That was a thing. The Him Too one, that was controversial. That was a controversial moment, one of those character forming moments. I won't forget it because that Me Too hashtag, it just started going viral and people were emotional. And right away I was like, Me Too is awful. This is terrible for women. It's terrible for men. Just me being Candice saying the thing, and left and right, people were hammering me. It was like, how dare you say that we need due process? We're talking about rape. And I remember he had young women at Turning Point who were threatening to quit, crying in the office. How could she not support Me Too? Young women who did quit. And then we had at the same time the YWLS conference. So the reporters who already hated us just completely, they just swooped in there and they were like, oh, do you support her statements? And I just remember just being behind Charlie and Andrew Colvett, and he just held the line. He held the line because he agreed with me and he knew it was going to be a bit of fire. People, you got to fire her. How could she say this? And he didn't. He held the line. And it was one of those moments where Charlie, he had good character. But the prep for every one of those events, like even the Him Too event, it was always Kanye. Here it is. Just literally me, Charlie, and Sarah, who was his assistant at the time, just playing the hype music. Charlie and I fought a lot of battles together. I mean, of course, who could forget the infamous day that we got chased out of a Philadelphia restaurant by Antifa, and they threw water and they threw an egg on Charlie. We were just amazed at how quickly they had assembled once they found out what restaurant we were at. But I want you to watch him here, like even in this moment of shock and adversity, he finds a reason to smile, and it's incredible. Take a look at this. That was Charlie. That was Charlie, man. That was always his main thing. Be a happy warrior. And he was a happy warrior. And we were happy warriors. And we laughed a lot at the protesters, the absurdity of the protesters always. I personally think some of the protesters liked that Charlie and I were making light fun of them. I don't even know what campus event this is, but I love this video of me just playing with the protesters, sitting in front of one of their signs, and Charlie speaking over my shoulder. Take a listen.
If you aren't wealthy, white, and male, Charlie Kirk is not your friend. What do you think?
Not my friend anymore.
Are we not friends? Is
It's
that right?
Find out. It's not going to find out. A sign outside of a thing, an event that we just did. You're not my friend.
Go figure.
Looking back at too many photos, I just have too many photos with Charlie. It really is incredible to see how many times he's just right behind my back. Charlie always had my back, and I always had his. Charlie was right by my side when I started Blexit, obviously. He was also there the night that I met my husband, which was absolutely an incredible night. And in the UK, which I didn't expect to happen. I got to tell you, initially, Charlie, ever the analytical mind, when I told him, I'm like, oh, I think I'm going to marry this guy first. He's like, wait, like, is this going to be good for your brand? I'm like, Charlie, this is love. This is not a brand decision. And then he sat down and he spent just one evening with George, and Charlie was just the most supportive of everything. And this is our text chain speaking about that moment. He's like, his heart is wonderful. You guys are meant for each other. I see it brilliantly and clearly. And he gets it. He isn't afraid of you being you. And he's been through hell. And it was, Charlie was by my side the day that I got married. Of course, he was by my side, when I got married to George. And of course, Charlie fell in love with Erica. That entire journey to me when I was reading through the text is so funny because it was exceptional. I was always leaning into Charlie's analytical mind and making fun of him. Like, oh, all we need to do is get a plan. You love Erica? Okay, what's the plan? What are you going to do? What's step one? What's step two? And the plan that I came up with instantly was all we have to do is convince her that her last name is terrible. Her last name, she's got to marry you because it's practical. Kirk is Mrs. Erica Kirk sounds so much better than Miss Erica Francie. What is that last name? It's a practical decision. This is the text chain from that. Charlie and Erica Kirk. He says it's going to be the power couple of the century. I need to continue to pray about it. I said her last name's dumb. She literally needs you to propose. It's way too complicated. He said, I'm going to tell her it sounds like a sneeze. It's horrible. And then I wrote, marry me. It's a logistics thing. That's just who we were. Always making fun and always wanting to know what the plan was. And obviously it worked, you guys. It worked. Our plan worked. We broke Erica down. First came the name shame, then came the wedding, and then came the children. You know, Charlie really loved Erica from the time reading through the text today. Just loved her. He loved his family. He really did. And I just want to say that Charlie and I, because I think this is important, never for a single minute, ever, did Charlie and I stop being friends. Even when the world demanded that from both of us, our relationship was real. We were brother and sister. You know, we were fortified. Our relationship was forged in fire, the fire of politics. I knew him. I knew Charlie, the real Charlie. And Charlie knew the real Candice, you know, and people knew I didn't like a lot of people in politics. I didn't like a lot of people calling me and doing the political dance. Of course, people guessed it correctly when they said, oh, the person who probably was the intermediary when Trump called about Brigitte was Charlie Kirk. Of course it was Charlie. They would never send anybody else to call me with anything because they knew that Charlie was a brother to me. And there was so many things that were said that were wrong. And we laughed at how wrong it was when people thought that when I had made up my mind about Israel, that Charlie and me fell apart. Nope, never, not for a second. I said, it's the easiest decision ever because Charlie knew who I was and I knew who he was. I said, Charlie, this is where I'm at and there's no room for movement. And you tell your whoever that needs to hear it, whatever you need to tell them, because we're always going to be brothers and sisters. You know, we're always going to be brother and sister. And we would talk about things and debate things behind the scenes. And I think
when you bond with somebody, me, M Love, Blade, Reaper, Snow Brother, Kofa, RBN, Roddy, just to name a few. We bond in a certain level. My bonding with M Love will not be the same bonding with Reaper, with Blade, with Roddy, with Kofa, with Uncle Rick. But we have this one thing inside of us that is so similar that starts to build a foundation and lay the concrete to our relationship. If you think I agree every time with these motherfuckers, I don't agree with what they say every time. But because our foundation is so rooted in life, love, dignity, and respect, we could get down the road and get through any conversation. And those conversations will never take away from the motherfucking person that you met. It's just that I like French onion soup and this motherfucker like cheddar broccoli soup. And we will argue to death about which soup is better. We will argue about what you should eat versus salmon steaks versus snapper steaks. We'll argue about frivolous shit and laugh about it and care nothing about it. Because the foundation that we set, we are rooted in certain ideologies and certain truths that we know to be true that could take us to the next level in life. That's what she's describing here. Shout out to all my generals. And shout out to the MSD lovelies also at the same time. Disagreement, a Biff. Shout out to a Biff. My motherfucker a Biff. The super ninja. Y'all know you can speak exactly how the fuck y'all feel over here. I don't do censorship. I don't do it. I think censorship is wild. I don't think we need to be a hive mind thinking on the same page at the same time, at the same minute, at the same second, for the same reason, for the same purpose. No. No. But I believe that I know that diversity amongst groups is a special thing, especially when we talk about leading people into the right direction of life, especially when we're talking about leading our household. Diversity is key. Diversity does not mean skin tone and gender. Diversity is the brain. You may have a different way to solve a problem or a different experience that can help me solve my problem. That's how diversity actually works. So that they sold it to you as diversity and equity and inclusion mean that you have to be a fucking LGBs, ABCs, a black, a woman, and then turn into identify as a hibiscus plant, right? Those are all trick games that they play. Diversity in leadership and diversity in unity means that we respect each other's differences in thought of leading things down the road. Not weird shit like that. But guess what? They'll pull the wool over your eyes and make it seem like it's one thing, but it's not the other fucking thing. And use words. But I told you the other day, plain and clear. When they changed the E from equality, when they realized equality was absolutely against them, they changed it to what? Equity. But Candice is pretty much done. After this, she starts crying about, bro, she lost her broski.
My perspective was as it's been throughout our relationship. Like, you might not get it now, Charlie, but you will. I'm only a few years older than you, but I think you're gonna see things my way. And I think in the end, Charlie was going through a spiritual transformation. I don't think it. I know it. He was going through a lot, and there was a lot of pressure. And it's hard for me to watch the people who were pressuring him. I don't know, just say the things that they're saying. You know, there's something about it that just feels really fake. Feels really fake to me. And they would have allowed him to lose and wanted him to lose everything for changing or even slightly modifying an opinion, and then to see them doing what they're doing today, it's hurtful to me. It's very hurtful to me. But I don't want today to be about anything other than you guys knowing that Charlie really was an amazing person. You know, he was like, we were really close, and he was my best friend and my brother. And I will never unsee the footage of what I saw, the violence of it. I pray for the people who took any pleasure in that. There's not a single person in the world that I would wish that on. And least of all, someone with a heart like Charlie's. He loves his family, he loved his wife, he loves his country. And he didn't deserve that ending. You know, he's really young. But I know that we will carry the torch. I will never allow the memory of Charlie to be forgotten, obviously, because there is no Candice without Charlie. You know, we came up in politics together. And so I don't know what else to say, guys, other than I'm in a lot of pain right now. And I love you, Charlie, and you know, I'll see you when I'll see you. I love you very much. Thank you, guys.
On the gang. On the motherfucking gang, G. That's a real homie, dog. That's a real homie. That is a real homie. Biff, you just talking about food? Steamed broccoli, mushroom, cheese, and cheese sauce. I don't like the texture of the broccoli or the mushroom. I don't like none of the fucking texture of them shits. Rest in peace to Charlie Kirk. Give me 1 second. Let me spin it real quick, and we gonna close out. You heard? Stay gang, stay free. Yo. Is back here for all those who support, for all those who show love and comprehend what we're building here. Big salute to you. For all those who really get what's going on, because their third eye is activated and their pineals is not calcified. Big salute to you. Y'all know it's a love thing. Every time you step into the town square, every time you hear, have zero fear, have no worry. Don't worry about a motherfucking thing. The generals are here to square shit away. This is a culture and this is an environment that we could spread as far as we want to spread it. It's not about accepting to everybody. It's about embracing the people that are responsible. It's about hugging and inviting the people that actually give a fuck about not just themselves, but they can. It's for people that comprehend that it takes a village of people working together in motion simultaneously to make evolution and revolution happen. It's not about skin tones. It ain't about how much credit cards you own. It ain't about nothing else, dog. Those things are valuable things. I have no delusions about those things. Those things are just keys and assets to open doors. These things are about moral. This is about a moral foundation that you have with you. This is about moral foundations. This is about keeping your compass pointed to the true north at all times. You'd be like, well, Trin, you be out here cussing motherfuckers out and wilding. I absolutely fucking do. Absolutely. And I'm not going to stop. I refuse to stop. I refuse. I won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. No diddies. Like Trin, you be wilding. You be making hella jokes and throwing hella crazy videos. I do. Trin, you be having girls with them big fat batties showing on your fucking. I absolutely fucking do. Well, Trin, why the fuck you feel like you could just sit out here and be serious all of a sudden and make everybody serious? Because I fucking choose to. That's why. I'm not a one-dimensional thing. I'm not a thing that thinks about ass and box every day. And find a video of FDNHT where that has been the main topic and the only topic. And I'll send you $500. That's not what we do over here. Respect men for being men. Respect women for being women. And when they don't align with the principles that we know to be true and honest, that create family and that create community, we don't stand with that shit. We have grace, we have comprehension, we have compassion. But we never, ever, 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 ever condone ignorance and idiocracy. If you get down with that, if you get down with FDNHT, when we build from the town square, we build, we keep growing, and we don't look back at anything else. And anything that jeopardizes what we are building, we'll sit there and we will figure it the fuck out and deal with it appropriately. When I mean appropriately, I mean just blocking them. I don't mean far alt right, far alt left thinking. Simply block them out. That's let me be clear. In these days, we got to be clear about all that shit, right? A lot of people out here that don't give you a fucking thing when they sit up here and turn the red light on. I refuse to be one of those people. And I'm not sorry about that shit, dog. I'm not. I'm not sorry at all. I'm not sorry. Not one bit. When I turn on the fucking red light, I'm gonna share something with you. We could watch videos. We could share lives. But never, not one time, would you not leave here with something for you to think about. This wasn't even the show I planned today. I had a whole different show planned. And y'all know the boy like to write. Whole other show planned. But I had to sit here and I had to give this lady, this beautiful, melanated, young lady, her praise and her flowers, G. Like I said in the beginning, I would hope my dogs ride for me like that. I got dogs that ride with me like that. Sure, I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that. But it's not just me in this chat, not just me on this channel. Make sure you got a partner that'll ride with you to the end of the fucking term, to the very end, dog. DMX was the one who taught me these lessons about this shit. Crazy enough, right? And this is the lyric. I will rob and steal with you, dog. What? We will ride till we die on to the sun because we thick like blood. We thick like what? There's my dogs. I'm a rob and steal with you, dog. Nigga, what? Ride till we die on to the sun. Thick like blood. Where's my dog? And I was outside of my fuckery. That programmed me to understand what a friendship really, really, really was. Candice, salute to you. Ride for your dogs. Ride for your dog. That's your motherfucking dog ride. I'm gonna keep watching. I'm gonna keep watching. Ride for your motherfucking dog, bro. A lot of people don't even have that type of fucking love for somebody else. But the fact that you got that type of love for your dog, big salute to you. Yo, this is FDNHT, and I am Trin. Slim, trim, and built to win, humble host that tries not to do the most. This is Flaco Fuerte. It's Granny's baby, numero uno. You know, it's a love thing, 24/7, 365. Make sure you take care of yourself. You can take the people that surround you. Make sure you love yourself. You can love the people that is around you. Remember, this thing ain't a sprint. This thing is a marathon. You do what you gotta do so you get it.